Now we
press
are
that
here,
button.
and buttons are pressed.
All right, it's been a few weeks, but welcome back, everybody. We are in the middle of Lancer's session. I don't remember, but this is in the middle of Mission 5. Last time that occurred, the class action lawsuit against Baron Kaki Gange, whatever, is about to go underway. Like, the proper actual trial is about to begin. The lengthy pre-trial process has finished after like 2 full years, which subjectively has actually only been about like 4 months for the group, but that's fine, not a big deal.
10,000 years.
It's the proper time frame for a class action, so.
If anything, it's actually still a little bit fast. So, last time a combat occurred in the form of a hired group, a sort of permanently employed mercenary company under Ganger's employ, accosted the group with a proposed duel that they had to do because it was in their contract that they had to do this, basically, and they were ordered to do so. And this is completely legal out in the Baronies, is going ahead and doing duels to like turn you away from actually moving into and doing the trial. Now, you were not hired or brought in exactly to actually represent them, in that you were not the lawyers. However, here's a fun thing. As you receive a little bit of a ding, 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 like that Miker's ding, ding type beat from, well, Judiciaricum's main ship, the consultation, sending you a little bit of a checkup on this. So, you know how you just got attacked? And you were about to get dissuaded from moving on? But you succeeded and actually defeated this group and whatnot, so you're going to be fine. Well, as you might expect, Ganji actually sent groups out to most parts of this legal process, and unfortunately actually got whoever lawyer was actually going to represent them.
I can't
So-
believe Lionel Hutz is dead.
Lionel Hutz, the 35th or something.
Well, it's Miguel Sanchez now, but
Has fallen in combat. And by that, he just waited from going in. He was just like turned away. He's like, nope, no, get out of here. Sorry, you're not going to be doing this because you lost a duel. Congratulations, everybody. No, it's actually going to fall to you all now to actually do the representation properly. Which is a little bit of a problem because you were not prepared as such for that. But the good news is that anything that you could think of as being part of this, hey, you'll be able to provide. It's fine. And on your way in, deeper and deeper into the Citadel, past all of like the entertainment parts of it on the outside, including like full-on like F-Zero racing stuff. I really do mean that. Like tubes that are out in the middle of a gas giant that are magnetized or something, and the hovercrafts like go off on them at ridiculously high speeds. That stuff like that just happens on this planet as part of like filming entertainment and stuff on it. And here, deep and deep in, you get placed into a courtroom, which I'm going to go ahead and just say real quick, full disclaimer, this is the first map I did not make. I was in the middle of making a map and like it was spending hours on it, but it wasn't coming out very well. And I just decided to do a quick Google search for courtroom battle map, and bam, the thing I was like literally looking for, someone had already made it for me.
how fancy this map is.
Yeah, it's fancier than normal for me. These chairs and stuff and all that are mech sized, but they're not actually made of wood. They're made of materials that just look like wood and act like wood. Super plastics and whatnot.
So when you say the chairs are mech size, is my size like a size half, like a normal person?
Yeah,
chair
you're gonna be.
wall?
Yeah, you're actually gonna
You're
have
like
to
a
hop
little
up
guy
on one.
sitting on the edge of the chair, and your legs aren't reaching the ground.
100%, yes. Because you are a smaller mech, that's just the case. They're sized more towards like size 1 mechs. And conversely, larger size ones like professional responsibility have to sit into one like just like a big guy sitting on a child's chair.
I do
Gotta take
like
up a
that we
bench.
have immediately put the two people who are too small for the chairs in the chairs.
Oh yeah, feel free to actually swap that out and whatnot
I
because
feel like
here's
that's
the thing.
accurate.
Yeah. Also, spend your rests and whatnot. Obviously, like spend your repairs and heal up and everything.
Probably a good idea.
Yeah, considering someone here, you were literally 1 point of damage away from taking, I think, a second structure, right?
First structure. I know I did take a stress.
Well, we're not
last time. Did this
doing
clear.
combat today, are we? Or are
Maybe.
we actually doing combat?
I mean, it could come to that. I'll just throw this out here, like looking at.
Oh, okay.
all
Sorry,
the
I was
stuff in
fully
here.
prepared for a no combat day.
If your argument takes the form of a fist fight, if you want to introduce an exhibit into the record at high speed,
The overcharges stay, but the stresses go away, or is that they both stay?
Stress is repaired with repairs, just like
Okay.
structure is.
yeah,
In fact, there's one
overcharge
that I did
doesn't
name.
reset until between missions. Long
Yeah, but I
rest
need to
cools
spend a
that
point
off.
to get rid of core stress, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
I think actually, I think it costs the same as structure. That they both cost 2.
Mhm.
Let me check the quick rules reference on that. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that the encounter actually would happen today. I'm just saying that it theoretically could if you decided to just blitz through the trial part. It's entirely up to you.
Oh yeah,
I
so
have-
repairs or is it gets rid of a structure or stress. Oh, yeah.
Yep, that's what I thought.
You
Yep.
said this mission was only going to be 2 things, then, right?
It's going to be. It would theoretically be 2 encounters long, is what I said.
All right, I was spending a repair.
Yeah, I did
Yeah, you
not
should spend
necessarily
the
mean that.
repairs.
I did not necessarily mean that the mission would be 3 sessions. I said that it would probably be 2 encounters long.
Oh, right. I was going to overcharge last session, but then because things turned out the way they did on a turn, did not.
Yeah, and I think part of the confusion too is I assumed you meant 2 encounters, including like non-combat encounter, but yeah.
Sorry, I am now observing the map and the audience in the back here.
Oh, there's actually quite a lot more than just those, and including like a whole bunch of drones that are just there to be cameras and stuff. There's actually also would be a press like camera over here, and like just a press group in general taking footage of this,
Okay.
among other things. I just didn't clutter it up with non-important.
Are the jury all
tokens.
here in their jury robots?
Hey,
yes.
so I want to propose a roll for the funniest thing out of all of this. And I'm gonna use my my civil worker background for this. Is Hearth Walnut on the jury? Damn.
Hearth Walnut is not on the jury.
That'd be a huge conflict of interest. Come on.
It would be an enormous conflict of interest. Yeah, that'd be.
I mean, hey,
Wait.
for what it's worth, we're definitely going to try to look over at the jury and see if we did throw like a planet-sized, huge-ass banger of a party. We could probably look over there. There's probably like 1 or 2
Yeah,
people.
my
in there that would just
question
be like,
is-
hey!
My question is, why weren't we present for jury selection?
Well, there might be that there.
Okay, but
There's actually a number of different reasons about why that'd be the case, and I'll get to it in a bit here.
on
Because
a
you don't want to spend that
technicality,
entire session of me shooting down everyone.
on a technicality, Hearth is not part of the company. I'm just a contractor.
You're
It's
just
still
a
a
contractor.
conflict
You're
of
still employed, dog.
Yeah,
I'm
you still were
sorry.
working on the mission. Like, that's still a huge conflict. Yeah,
No,
no, that doesn't fly.
I mean that was the role of like, did somebody file something wrong? But anyway,
Uh-huh.
All right, no. All right, so actually, I'm gonna go and ask this really quick. Who would like to be like the main head lawyer here? Who would like to actually like give out the thing? Like everyone obviously is involved, but who is going to be the one to actually present things to the judge, basically?
I'm pretty sure Salt is our face.
Yeah, all right.
I was about to say,
yeah.
like, I actually did the role last session for
I-
studying on this, but up to you
yeah,
guys.
I mean, that would make more sense. You're
Yeah,
well
but that's why
prepared
we're back
for
on the
it,
bench with all the papers,
you know.
all the files.
All
So,
I got is a
the-
PowerPoint, so I don't know.
The reason why I did this actually is because I wrote up a couple of opening statements, and if you would like to take that and alter it as you wish, you don't have to present it as is. Obviously, that's entirely up to you. This would just be basically while you're dealing with this, probably Unshan actually would be like whispering in your ear about like what a good opening statement here would be because you weren't prepared
Yeah, that makes
inherently
sense.
or exactly. Yeah.
I say Kubo.
Okay. That is one vote for Hans Gunther Hemborg of Forstoffer.
Thinks to myself, Kuvo would be the funniest option. So yes, Kuvo.
Okay.
Either Kuvo or Ty.
Not me. No, absolutely.
If we're
not.
leading Kubo, then all right, yeah, just Doom Guy Lawyer.
Doom guy
There it is.
lawyer slams the desk.
Yes,
Put these
yes.
threaten and charm rolls into effect here.
All right. Well, let me go ahead and send this to you.
Okay.
Just an ace attorney lawyer who has a super shotgun that they brandish around the courtroom.
Also, wait. Yes. Professional responsibility taking care of the paperwork. So the very small mech doing all the litigation and the very large mech. Oh, here you go, sir. Please. This is.
I reposted.
Oh, fuck, you
the
actually did-
presentation.
yeah,
You're welcome.
The PowerPoint. I forgot about
Oh,
that.
right, fuck!
Oh, hell yeah.
I put like 5 minutes effort in that, so you're welcome.
That's quite a lot of 5 minutes of effort. Oh, yeah, by the way, also, additional part to this. So, an additional part of this, like I said, because you're going to just be in this zone at the same time as a whole bunch of other robots, and it's going to be an extended period of time, the assumption that every single one of these robots has gotten scanned at some point is just automatically made. So if it does come to a combat later, you just inherently know everything that all of these robots can do. Every last one of them. You don't have to scan them, it's already available to you. And
Yeah,
to that
right.
end, I've actually already made, because you have like a thorough knowledge of them, I have made handouts for every single one of them.
Ooh. I do
Yeah,
like the
so you can
shield
actually
bot
see.
over there on the left.
Wait a minute.
There is, in fact, a robot with a shield. And also a spear.
Oh, cool. I see the scans now. Nice.
Yeah, so you can have like this right here,
Ooh.
which just shows you everything that they can do. Every last bit.
All of it.
Yeah.
Handsome.
Including things like, hey, someone had to be here in person, and he doesn't want to be here, but he definitely brought like his best mech. I wonder if the guy who is in a robot that is using as its main weapon 2 sharp whips is a good guy or not.
Whips have always
could
coded
say?
as good guy weapons, so...
Hey,
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Doc, we're literally watching Yu Hakusho.
Don't worry about it.
Did you know that
You can
Simon
be a good
Belmont
guy and use a
backwards is
whip.
Dracula?
That's messed up. That's a messed up thing to say. Simon Belmont uses whips.
Yeah.
Rector Belmont uses a whip, and he's like
That's the sound of
a saint.
whip and a hero.
Case
Doc,
of the
this thing
people
you sent me,
versus
this was
Dracula.
The thing you sent me, this is what Unchen sent me? Sent
Yes.
us? Okay.
You like I said, feel free to just use it as a base, like a guideline, and say whatever you want. It's entirely up to you. Or you can just read it straight. That's fine. Not a big deal either.
I'm seeing what kind of flourishes I can put on it.
Hey, Boix, I'm looking through this PowerPoint, and I gotta
Yeah.
say the Ally McBeal dancing baby with a matching Tommy Pickles is inspired. I like it a lot. That is, you have said more about Salt and Pepper's character with this last frame of this PowerPoint than you could say with 100 play sessions. It's unbelievable. Like the mech being smoothed
Okay.
the wrong way. You see the transparency layer there. God, it's so good. This is artisanal.
This is why, like, yeah, I could never come up with something as good as this.
Finally, all my work with my degree and in tech fields is paying off.
The real power of pointing.
PowerPoint.
I'm excited about showing that off somewhere.
Yeah, so I'm not trying to rush you or anything. I just like a note. I'm actually not allowed to start until you do because prosecution gives their opening statement first.
Sure, just give me like 30 seconds.
Yeah, go right ahead.
I guess a question to the group here. If we want to call witnesses, what witnesses would they be? Who do you think would be good?
You can say literally anyone, and I will provide. If you don't remember everyone, you don't have to decide the witnesses right now. That's also okay.
We
You
did
can, if you
arrange
have an
for
idea of like,
Q-Bot
we want to bring
to
this
jump the
person in.
fence.
Yeah.
I was going to say Kodomo was probably a great idea.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Kodomo is core as leader of the rebellion.
Oh yeah, don't worry. I brought her token in just in case because I knew that she would be number one.
We did make special arrangements for Q-Bot to be willing to come in and
Yeah.
whistle.
Q-Bot is there. I was going to say Nielsen, but
don't
then again,
worry.
we also hired
Don't worry,
him, so
Q-Bot
that's
is also
after.
here.
Ooh, yeah. What about we could bring Stingray in?
Does
right?
would the cascading thing be good? With the weird AI
kinda blew that up.
balloons
That
fused
thing's
with?
hella
Would that be
dead.
helpful?
Unfortunately, that right there, that you maybe at one point actually, yeah, but it is very dead.
It would be very difficult to resummon it on short notice. Who knows, though?
And you don't have to describe the positions of the witnesses if you want to mention them in that either. Don't worry about that. Yeah, meanwhile, so here's the thing: is I currently don't actually have Photoshop installed and need to go get that installed. So all of these mechs are a little bit bland as far as like extra features go. I was going to make the Saint Barulas mech over here a little bit fancier, but well, I didn't have the tools to do so at the time.
Yeah, I mean it looks good the way it is. So
A little bland, he says, highlighting these.
Well, bland from the perspective of like me altering them and like kit bashing them or anything like that.
Don't
They're
worry
really
about
good to start with because Retrograde Minis mechs are fucking great, and all of these are like the most useful token generator thing I have ever used. So. Oh, and by the way, don't worry. The judge is not an enemy. The judge also happens to be statted, but the judge will never be your enemy. Unless you attack the judge. That's your decision.
I'm surprised there's no bailiff bots.
There's reasons for that.
I find that the judge is not an enemy to be disappointing, actually.
I mean, I'm
Well, if
now
you're
thinking
disappointed-
about, like, a raid encounter that is a courtroom, and you need to follow court procedures to get the appropriate status markers to be allowed to enter the well without getting tackled.
That's just
I will
brute
throw this out
justice
here.
savage.
I will throw out that the judge does have extra buffs that it can give people. I wonder why it can do that.
Who can say for sure?
Who could possibly know?
These are the mysteries.
So did you send that stuff only to Kubo, or?
The opening statement? Yeah, I only sent that to Kubo.
Oh.
Sorry, I'm just retyping some of this last paragraph.
Oh, no, you're good. I was just wondering why we all wouldn't get it.
Furiously shuffling papers.
If Kubo wants to send it to all you after redoing it, that's fine.
Yeah, give me like 1 sec. Sorry, it's hard
Okay.
to type and also think at the same time.
No, I gotcha.
You're good.
Gonna share up what I wrote down after the fact. Mechanical idea about how this trial goes, by the way. I can go ahead and just share that right now. So, it's actually very simple. All you have to do is get the, get the jury to think that you're right, and so on, right? By default, the jury's opinion starts out at -3. All you have to do is get it to positive. By positive, I mean 1 or higher, as opposed to including 0 as positive, even though it is positive.
Number go up. That is the
Yep.
law.
And that would mean the jury is not hung or anything like that, or disagreeing with each other. It would simply mean that you're good to go.
They do be like that.
You've got a chance for every piece of evidence that you provide, or testimony, or anything like that, to make a roll, is the idea. It's quite simple. Anyone can contribute, and you can justify it in any way you want.
Picturing that we have on our desk here organized, all the papers, all the briefs, the files and cases at giant robot size. And then also like ammunition and replacement parts and spare weapons that have been organized like office supplies.
Mm-hmm. That's part of it, because at the end of this, basically, if Ganger wanted to then say, all right, listen, we're just going to fight this out at the end, that's actually completely okay. However, it would mean he would have to do it himself. He'd have to stick his own neck out there, and risk death straight up to get away with it. That's the idea.
Yeah, this is about convincing the judge and through them whatever other wider authorities that one side or the other is more legitimate right now.
Mm-hmm. To use the grip of their pistol as a gavel? Yes. They grab the barrel and use that as the barrel, as the gavel.
Tiny rocket hammer.
Okay, that's what I got. You guys like it? Shuffle the papers over across the table to them.
Looking good to me.
Yeah, that looks pretty good.
All right. So, to silence up any additional mech-size shuffling and radio chatter going on in the middle of this, which, instead of the sound of because it's a large echoey chamber, instead of the sound of very subtle cloth moving or just hushed whispers, it is full on just giant robot sounds. So you hear the occasional scrape of metal on the floor and stuff.
Ambient Gundam noises.
Yeah, a bunch of Gundam noises, and then the judge over there, Honorable Judge Liminal Yarid, who is piloting the final decision, a very, very advanced and weird-looking mech, pulls out their pistol, first off fires one zappy shot into the air, and then turns it, grabs it by the barrel, and clangs it onto the table in front of him like a gavel. Order is demanded in the court for the procession for the following trial of. Looks at a physical piece of paper, puts on like a small pair of glasses that like pince nez on the robot, and claims population of Kepra versus Kaki Dynasty, Kaki Gange.
Damn, his middle
may
name's Dynasty.
Prosecution may proceed with their opening statements, followed by defense if one has been prepared.
So I guess I stand up and, in my best fake lawyer voice, say, "Thank you, Your Honor. Today, your judiciary outcomes, a mercenary law practice mech combat unit, will be representing the population of the planet Kepra in pursuit of full restitution of the justices committed to them, and to see the deposition of the accused, Kaki Granger, from his office. Any additional decree of punishment is otherwise left in the hands of the Honorable Judge Liminal Yahid. People of the jury, the defense members of our union, this is a class action suit levied by the population of Kepra against the self-styled tyrant who has abused his authority and wealth in the expense of others, destroying the liberties and lives owed to them by the rights granted by the Third Committee. Kaki Ganji sees himself as accused of hundreds of cases of homicide, manslaughter, extreme workplace endangerment. In addition to first-degree murder, to which he is indirectly responsible, he is also accused of masterminding the disappearance of Kepra citizens, committed by criminals directly in his employ. The opposition of human rights guaranteed to the Union to Kepra citizens have been violated by Kaki. These violations are unconstitutional and illegal according to the Union's laws, regardless of how the feudalism finds itself practiced in the baronies. We would like to see that he is accused of all of his crimes and convicted and held to justice."
Yep. George goes ahead and listens to this, and upon seeing you're done, looks to the defense and says, the defense may make its case, and following up with. So the defense is actually, you can see their name here as well. They are being represented right now by defense attorney Eraclyn Gregbert. Eraclyn, like Erica Lynn, then Gregbert. Goes ahead and claims, honorable guests of the Citadel, home of law in the baronies, the things that my client, the rightful ruler of this region of space, the wonderful and gregarious Kaki Gange, has been charged with are false, and our presentation today will truly prove this to you and avail our baron from these erroneous accusations. While true the deaths of many have occurred on Kepra as part of the terraforming efforts, to say that they were manslaughter, or worse, murder, on the part of my client is absurd. Terraforming is dangerous work, and the evidence provided as proving its connection to Kaki Gange is laughable, which we will work tirelessly to prove. Which, that evidence was, if you'll remember, was going to one of the locations by tracking them down and finding the collapse of that mine, followed up with, since there were in fact a few survivors of the collapse, they were killed to basically just cover up the entire thing. And that evidence right there is what the defense has claimed that they will disprove. Prosecution has also claimed that orders to disappear his own citizens was given directly by my client, and this too will be proven false today because the popularity of my client is well known, with fanatic devotion even. It is the defense statement that the order taken from the computer in that compound, the server, was falsified. Not necessarily by the prosecution, we would never assume that as such of our honorable colleagues, but simply by fanatics who wish to convince themselves and others that they were working for the Baron, as this would be prestigious, which is in reference to that was what you were there for when you assaulted the mech hangar with all of those robots that were in the process of waking up and getting ready to go. And of course, the claimed oppression. Oppression is a complicated thing legally. The defense would like to argue the case that the reduced rights of Kepran citizens in these difficult times racked by piracy, a hostile environment, and extensive crime were necessary to protect the citizenry from danger. The laws of Union are designed to guarantee the lives of as many people as possible, and comfort should be a justifiable sacrifice. Moreover, the defense does not believe that the state of the citizenry is in violation of the third pillar of Union laws, that no human shall be held in bondage through force, labor, or debt. The focus of the defense in this case will thus be cross-examination of witnesses provided by the prosecution, but we do, too, have 2 witnesses of our own. First, Rutherford A. Arthur, whose position is manager of a staffing agency, who has had direct contact with members of Judiciary Outcomes during their investigation and has claimed that they did so under false pretenses. And second, Jamothy Talarak, the mastermind of a completely unrelated crime, and the database manager of a group of domestic terrorists, who will testify to the fabrication of one piece of evidence that will be provided by the prosecution in this trial.
Towel rack, huh?
Talarak. Jamothy Talarak.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm. And so, the one who is speaking, by the way, is the one next to St. Bartolus and the Showdown mech, who then sits down in the chair, which is actually slightly too large even for this, because it's a size 1 mech, but it's a relatively small one. And the judge then, holds up another piece of paper and is going to go ahead and say, the prosecution may present as evidence that they have, or call a witness at any time they wish. So at this point, it's basically, you can call whoever you want. I don't care. I will go ahead and work with that. Or you can bring up and say, let's talk about this piece of evidence now. And then anyone can present that. Or if you want to do it as a group, that's fine with me too. Or anything like that,
All right, so what are our opening moves?
Huddle,
what's the
huddle
game
with
plan?
the defense here.
Yeah, I feel like so among our main checklist of stuff that we have here, I feel like Clarkson can do a role of being there as an expert witness to talk about like the structural integrity of the mine and just do a breakdown of, yep, this was a complete botch job that could have been trivially prevented with minor expense. That's one line of attack I feel like we have, talking about the mine.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I was also going to say we could probably call, God, what was her name? Chick with half a
Kodomo?
face, Komodo. Yeah, Kodomo. For basically material witness saying that like the people of Capra didn't have their material needs and stuff fulfilled. They were being repressed.
On top of that, and since I want to help you out as much as I can, because I mean, it's hard to expect to remember everything. I don't even remember everything. That's why I'm saying, actually, if the chat wanted to help out as well, that's completely fine. So on top of that, Kodomo is specifically, part of her backstory was that, she was part of what was pretty much an assaulted, protest.
Yeah.
And she actually lost half of her face during that. And so she actually she can testify directly to the oppression that was going on. And also the basically the disappearing part of things. The ones who are ordered to be part of it.
All right, so against the claims that the piracy is something that justifies the harsh conditions, can we drop teenager in here from the top rope?
Yeah, because weren't the pirates hired?
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, we do have video footage of every single one of our missions.
Mm-hmm.
That's 3 things on the pile.
I mean, there's also
I
weren't
can present the video footage with the PowerPoint as well. I'm sure that'll help.
I was going to save the PowerPoint for the closing statements because it'd be pretty.
Oh
great.
yeah, we could do that. No, that's a good
Yeah.
point. Okay.
weren't the assassin squad that was sent after us from Khaki?
Uh,
That's
don't know if-
actually probably not the case.
Yeah, we don't know if
Okay.
that was a direct connection because
All right.
Yeah, that was over on the other planet. Chumbort.
They seem to
whatever
be.
it was.
They might be connected to the real estate company,
All right.
but we don't have much that ties them to Khaki.
There is likely connection because Kepler and Chumbort themselves are connected on a like planetary fraud scale. You know, the two planets are connected on that level, so there likely is some level of connection between them, but you don't know what that is. So,
And there was no
Wait, this might actually
connection
be
between this guy and the cascading AI,
that we
was
know
there?
of.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not something we know of, I guess, at this point. I think our strongest pull right now would probably
We know
call
that
Kodomo.
facility belonged to the real estate company, so that's still that other layer removed right now as far as things we know.
Understood.
We can guess it had something to do with all of this, but for now, Death Fridge, the fridge that kills.
for now, Death Fridge, the fridge that kills, is unrelated to the case, at least.
Yeah.
We do also have CubeBot as a
CubeBot.
material
We have
witness.
Cubebot.
Qbot was hired at 2 different places. It was hired on the space elevator at Chumbort. What was the other place?
Two different CubeBots.
No, hold on.
No, I
As
said it was
I
hired at 2
said-
different places.
Those were 2 different Qbots.
No,
I
it's the
said
same
that
one.
already. You can't do this to me.
Like that's a running joke, but in actuality, those are 2 different CubeBots. The second CubeBot, the first CubeBot Prime, was at the mine
Yes.
I see.
and was one of the only robots we didn't destroy.
Well,
one
the
could be
robots were
useful.
frequently destroyed, but a lot of the people involved in that actually did survive because, destroying robots does not necessarily kill the
Yeah,
pilot.
it-
Right,
it's
as
assumed
the
that
robot-
you're able to walk away from a regular mech breakdown.
As the robot was destroyed, the parachute ejected. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, well, called to the stand, it seems like, as the first action would be the representative swapper here, by the way, it's just a small platform that can walk and move that just puts out a hologram of whoever is doing stuff at the time, if they could not currently make it out of fear for their life, or if they didn't have a robot to be in, which in the case of Kodomo that is part of that. So this is why you can call anyone, because it can generate anyone anywhere is the idea.
This does
Space
mean
phones
you have to
then.
establish an NPC for CubeBot.
Well, this is the witness stand. This is just where they go. All right. Well, called to the witness stand is one Kodomo L'Oreal, who is one of the organizers and one of the main representatives of the class action lawsuit being held against Kakiganje. And well, you may begin examination or let them make statements, which that's up to you, because you tell them what to say, basically.
I guess.
Or rather-
Miss L'Oreal, thanks for showing up. Can you briefly describe your role in this entire lawsuit for the sake of the jury?
No problem. I, Kodomo L'Oreal, was just like anyone else, a regular citizen of the planet, up until the point that I took part in a protest, a very legal and guaranteed by our rights protest held in the Capitol and outside the Capitol building in Nikakoa. And I was one of the few survivors of a silencing attack on that protest. And she will gesture to the half of her face that's still just torn off. I am still currently unable to afford facial reconstruction surgery, and so I'm just left with this at the moment as physical evidence of the danger involved here from that attack.
So, Miss L'Oreal, what were you protesting that the plaintiff over there, the defendant over there, was so eager to silence you for?
We were protesting the general state of Well, in trying to think about how to word this, we were protesting how so many people that we know just simply stopped existing to our knowledge, that we could no longer get in contact with anyone who happens to go join in on the terraforming efforts.
Do you
Which-
know why these people have been disappeared? Why do you think these people are missing?
Which that is going to get a call out from... It's going to get a call out from Ericlin Gregber of like, that is a leading question, as supposed to lead into making an accusation from the witness, which is actually going to get overruled by the judge, because that's the leading questions are not inherently, they're not inherently a thing that's unaccepted. It is something that, it's just, sometimes it's a good thing and not, which is, if since you've looked this up, this is an example of the defense trying to figure out exactly what the judge's opinion of leading questions is, rather than it being specifically, that they had a claim to do it in the first place. So, Kodomo's go. My opinion of why they are being, disappeared, basically, is that they are not actually being used to terraform the planet exactly, and to make it more habitable for the people, but rather to just do some very high danger mining. That is my opinion of it, and to get rid of them afterwards is to make it so that no one can speak to to otherwise.
The question, I guess this is more of a knowledge check based on what we've done previously. You said in one of the first sessions we had that the people of Kepler are kind of like into not made to force labor, but like they have to work towards the mining project, like they don't have a choice in it. I think that was something that came up.
They officially have a choice to not work, but you know that a choice to not work and get nothing is not really a choice at all.
I see. So I guess I bring that up to Kodomo. Is like, would you say that many of the citizens of Kepra are forced or at least encouraged to work in the terraforming process?
I would say so, yes.
Go ahead.
Sorry, this is a general check that I brought up in the Lancer chat, but do we have footage of the protest?
Yeah, there's definitely footage of the protests out there.
Okay.
And the thing is that it is a personal level footage of those protests, and that's just all it is, It's not like a plane, a helicopter overhead taking footage of the protest kind of thing.
I asked
if you wanted to present it, feel free. But
does the footage like show anything that would help our case? I guess is the thing.
It actually, yes. If someone would like to make a quick check on that, like doing a research on the an extremely easy check of any kind that you can justify, doing research on that footage in the back while this is going on. Anyone can do this, like I said.
I could roll through the tape and see what I find.
Mm-hmm.
15.
Yeah, I feel that's a salt check.
So the thing that you're gonna very much pick out of that check right there is you recognize. I don't know if you remember this, but all of the mechs in that hangar actually did have the same paint scheme.
Mm-hmm.
And you do recognize from, even though that this is it's dark footage and therefore because it's happened at nighttime, you do notice that they share that same paint scheme. So you can actually pinpoint and claim, at least circumstantially, that those two were connected.
All right. If we're presenting that, then I'm going to step forward slightly and be like, look, I'm just a simple Midwest gene mech farmer, ace pilot. But this paint scheme on these mechs looks awfully familiar to theirs that they use very famously within their group.
And that the prosecutor will claim that might be the case. The similarities might be the case. However, that does not prove a direct connection to Kakiganje, as that is merely a fanatic domestic terrorist group that is unrelated to the plaintiff. To the defendant, sorry, not plaintiff.
Did we got the testimony of the guys who were in that mine area, right? No, the mine area is a different one. We got the fence, or we got the testimony from the guys that were at the.
I hired two of them.
No, you hired two of the ones from the mine, not from the.
No, I
the
hired
terrorists,
two
I
from the
believe.
hangar. I thought.
You might have. I don't remember exactly.
It was definitely at the end of that mission that I came up with that idea.
All right, well, fair enough. I guess the question was, did you want Nazis in your employ?
Yeah, let's ask that.
Yeah.
They reformed, but okay. Good point.
Yeah, so I continue asking the witness, those who, God, where was I going with my train of thought here? Those who were employed for the terraforming process, like, did you have a choice in any of this?
By the bare standards of the law, I was not actually physically coerced into joining up with. I was not physically coerced into joining up with any such project. And
But if you didn't,
technically, yeah, and technically, no one of my family was. However, multiples of my family have gone missing because they had no actual social choice but to accept. If you understand my meaning, not having any form of income otherwise is a problem.
so it was basically you were like, in a way, indentured servitude. You were forced to work, otherwise you wouldn't have your material needs met, is what you're saying.
Correct. That is what
Okay.
I'm saying.
Do you happen to know the 3 utopian pillars of the Union?
Yes, I am aware of the 3 utopian pillars of the Union, and if you would like, I can definitely state the 3rd pillar right now.
I was interested in both the first and the third, because it doesn't seem like either one is being fulfilled here. In case the jury and the rest of the court doesn't know, the 3 utopian pillars of the Union are: the first, all shall have their material needs fulfilled. The second, which doesn't really apply here, is no walls should stand behind the worlds. And the third one is, no human shall be held in bondage through forced labor or debt. And it seems to me that Khaki Baron over here is violating both the first and the third. By not meeting material needs of his citizens.
Well, the defense lawyer, Gregbert, will pipe up and say, there are, of course, other avenues of employ available to the public on Kepra, and I would say that their ability to, their comfort is not necessarily in, what do you call it? She wouldn't have this moment of thought. This is me thinking at the moment.
That's fine. None of us are crack lawyers.
She would not be. That is me saying the same thing again instead of the thought I just had.
Loading.
And it does. I do not believe that it is the case that Miss L'Oreal here is an expert on the totality of available rates of employ to the people on the planet of Kepra. Is the way that she's going to defend this as. Oh, she might be a material expert in the form of she might be a material witness, but she's not an expert witness. Basically,
I have an idea.
I asked the witness, I can't help but notice that you seem to have an injury about you, and you stated earlier that you cannot afford the medical procedure necessary to treat this injury. Would you say that this is a direct result of your inability to find work other than terraforming work?
I would say this, yes.
So you would say that your material needs have not been fulfilled, your need for healthcare.
I would say that, yes.
And I would propose that that is in direct violation of Union pillars.
And Eric Gregor will say, in that case, I believe that there should be some leniency given that while it may not be following the letter of the law, the spirit of the law, given the otherwise keeping the peace of the planet, is being upheld. And all right, so with this, I'm going to give you that's a pretty good like place to actually make a check here, and I would like to give you a ability to make a check with an additional accuracy for good arguments at the judge of anything you want to do to justify like the case that has just occurred.
Couldn't we make a counterpoint that the safety of the people wasn't
That would be
kept
part of this
because
yeah.
of this happened?
It's time for somebody to throw dice about it, though.
Yes.
I guess I could do that. You said accuracy. I'm also going to use charm here because I think that's a lawyery type skill.
Sure.
Just barely got
Yeah.
through that.
That is still a success, given that it was a pretty easy one with good arguments. And jury opinion has gone up, and the judge will say, that is overruled. That is not your decision to make, directly at the defense. And current opinion on this is currently counter to your claims, etc. And, basically telling the defense, please sit down. It is now your turn to speak.
Okay, sure. Defense rests.
Not yet.
We're not
The
the
defense,
defense.
right? You're the prosecution.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Shit.
y'all are still allowed to speak. Yeah.
Also, I have an idea here for another line of argument to put forth.
for
What
it.
we have L'Oreal up here.
That's what I had.
Now, to perhaps preempt and acknowledge a line of argument which may be available to the defense. Standard of living, a sense of comfort and safety, are ultimately subjective experiences beheld by those who undergo them. To be judged by those who live. I have long been acquainted with all manner of discomforts and inconveniences which surface folk take for granted. That I find well outside the realm of reasonability. So, for my own sake, and should it please the court, I would like to enter into a line of questioning to establish the expectations held by Ms. L'Oreal as a resident of this planet, in order to more appropriately assess the success or failure of the Khaki dynasty in providing for the needs of its subjects.
And Kodama will nod because she's not actually allowed to say in response to yes, that's
this
a good
is
idea. I like
turning
that.
to the judge and asking permission to to go off on a tangent here.
The defense will claim, while technically related to the case at hand, this is not related directly to the current witness, and we would like to put this off. And let me go ahead and actually, no, I want small claims to make a roll here about this instead. So that'd be,
Alright.
and again, anything. You have another accuracy about it too. You know what? Take an extra one because your stupid reflective surface suit is great.
Hell yeah.
I can't believe that's working.
Hmm.
Your spacer background as well, actually. That'll also apply because you have a particular view of
I'm
what
about
is
to
comfort.
very much bring a lot of space information into my line of argument here.
Yes, that's fine.
So I figure, as a fallback, can you just roll with plus grit for...
Because I would actually argue that survive, stay cool are both completely
Okay,
are
I'll
both
go with
completely
survive.
reasonable.
Let's do a survive roll here. Yeah!
There you go. Oh boy, yeah.
As with like a
to
lot
which-
of... Alright, go ahead.
Ooh.
Yeah. So the judge, upon hearing the defense's complaints, immediately goes, "Overruled. Sit down." You may continue, Mr. Clarkson. Clarkson Isaiah, that's it, Mr. Isaiah.
Thank you for your
Close
time, Your
enough.
Honor. Now then, and with a lot of dramatic posing as he is prone to do, and then a lot of robot noises and ejections and decouplings, Small Claims detaches the habitation pod, grabs it, and flips it over onto the desk. I would like to enter into evidence the following piece of artifice.
What is it? I actually don't know what you're... I mean, the habitation pod, I know that. Oh, right. The ability to just... Yeah, that's your personalization, in fact.
Yeah,
Shit,
just
you could have
taking
had
this
an
out
additional
here.
+2 for this because of the personalizations.
Well, placing the compartment on there. For the past 15 years, from my own frame of reference, this has been my place of permanent residence.
You hear some murmuring of the crowd in the background, which has a distinct, like, radio-ish tinge to it, because they're actually, like, whispering out of their radios, which is very stupid. They don't need to do that.
The technically inclined among the audience may recognize this as being built upon the core chassis of a standard light cargo container, as employed by the various spacing guilds in the shipment of freight throughout this and other sectors. And you will start to go off into a listing of its technical features as a life support module.
Mhm.
One can find that all of the capabilities which I have just listed are in compliance with the Spacing Guild's minimum standards for providing accommodation for a human life during long-term space travel, such as that which is experienced by those engaged in interplanetary migration. It can be also noted that said guilds will, at rates which are prone to vary in accordance with market conditions, offer the sale of such accommodations to travelers or to their hosts to be deposited on their destination in order to better facilitate their transfer to their new planet-bound existence. There's probably a bit of suppressed grumbling about why you would ever do that when you had a perfectly good space pod. One can note that among its abilities, and go on about, it being environmentally sealable, having atmospheric controls, carbon scrubbing, water recycling.
And basically all of this getting at, would
All
you
this
say
getting at-
that you have access to any of these things while living
Is there
here
any,
on-
if we can present this as a reasonable minimum level of life support technology that any settler arriving on Kepra should have fair access to, is there any aspect of life on Kepra at this time that does not meet the standards set by this pod?
And as you have go down and like list the things that this pod can do for you, you basically get as far as guaranteed things that you make sure that you will always have. Kodomo can basically only offer a couple. Like not even filtered water actually is on there. They have to pay for their water, that kind of thing. And it's pretty much just, at the very least, there is not really a housing issue here. That is like the only thing that's not a problem. As far as all of these go, water is not easily provided. Food is not easily provided due to a relative lack of production stuff. There is comfort in those living spaces as well, in the form of a thermoregulated zone that is comfortable to live in, given that this is a desertified planet that experiences both extreme heat and cold, depending with the thinner than usual atmosphere. That even is not really provided. So it's real hot during the day and real cold at night. And they just gotta hold that, which is terrible. And this is all an extremely good argument right here. So I guess feel free to make one last closing statement on that. And this cannot possibly lower jury opinion. This is basically just a possible bonus point on jury opinion with the same witness.
You're making a better argument than I am for that, but yeah, it's the same thing I was trying to go down.
So then, I can be led to understand from my questions and your responses to them that for many who currently dwell on Capra under the rulership of the Khaki dynasty, they would have been better off had they crawled into a lightly modified space dumpster.
The defense complains about the terminology being used here, but is touched up immediately because it's not something you can really justifiably complain about. And Kadoma will say, yes, then for many of us, it would have been better off if we had gotten into one of those cramped, tiny pods and escaped out into space. If we were given the chance and ability and choice to, which then she will look directly at motherfucker over here in his mech that I need to emphasize, he's plated with gold. That is why it looks like that. And the weapons are just like shining silver, and the head is like coated in a shining silvery metal as well.
Is the back sapphires?
Well, I can't really throw stones over having an excessively shiny mech right now.
No, but like that right there, it goes directly into, oh yeah, dangerous mining operations and stuff. I wonder where those were going. You know, those rare noble metals. That kind of thing.
Appropriating the surplus value created by the workers.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, would you like another roll along this point, or?
Yeah, and again, anyone could do it actually for this one. Even though this was very much like your presentation, is it just another way to
someone else can proceed to put the bow on that?
Yeah. I could roll if you want. Any accuracy or no?
Yeah, 1 accuracy. Good arguments deserve that.
Yeah, let me add that then. Boom. 14.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. So, seems like a bonus point already. Dang.
So you to reattach the habitation module.
I mean, that's my home. I gotta put that on.
I do live there.
All right, well. The defense has no further statements to make towards Kadoma L'Oreal.
Okay, I turn to the group. Who should we be calling up next then? We need to keep hitting them with these witnesses.
All right, so out of that we got living conditions are shit, and people are being brutalized.
I think this is where we transition into the mine collapse and we call Q-Bot.
Yeah, so I was thinking there's like 2 avenues of attack here. We can either go for what we just did, which is like they're not upholding utopian pillars, and this is kind of a human rights violation on a mass scale, or we can go off for the he was doing murder via his Goonies angle. So I don't know which would be the better plan of attack here, but
we do one and then the other. We have time for all of it.
Yeah. If we're going to continue on, this was a hellish world to work on angle, do we have any more, I don't know, material for that? I'm trying to think what else. I mean, the mine collapse is probably a pretty good,
the mine collapse seems like the next place to go then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
Okay, let's get Cubot in here then.
Cube!
Because wasn't part of the evidence that we got out of the mine collapse that, yes, okay, there's dead bodies in here because of the mine collapse, but then there were there were others that weren't part of it.
And then there's a separate mass grave of people who were just shot.
And I know we got footage of that one.
You didn't get footage of the shooting, obviously, because that happened a long time ago.
But
you got footage of the people. Yeah, the mass grave.
Yeah. I went down there and got that at least, yeah.
Calling to the stand, The prosecution calls to the stand one Trout Sanchez.
Trout.
Trout Sanchez, state your
yeah.
area of expertise and your place as a material witness. Well, I'm Trout Sanchez. I live my life as a mercenary, employed in this general region of space, in the frontiers past this point. And I was formerly employed by Kakiganje. But I will claim that here and now. And that's going to... The defense actually going to mark that down, but not interrupt yet.
Mm-hmm.
Employed by one Kakiganje, and I was a guard, basically, a defending position in the mine in question, the collapsed mine.
It's Bobcat Goldthwait voice killing me, by the way.
I mean, I would have to get a lot louder for a real Bobcat.
I asked Mr. Trout here, could you describe the events that happened on the day of the mine collapse?
I actually can't do that. I was not employed to be part of the collapse until afterwards, as I was there to guard investigations into the collapse.
What were your, I guess, direct orders during that investigation? Were you just prevent outside people from coming in?
Well, we were treating it kind of as a scene of a crime, sort of, as if we were police of some kind, which definitely is not the case. I would like to make that clear.
Did you see any police or detectives go and investigate this during your time there?
No, in fact, we did not. My entire time there, it was simply as a guard to make sure no one with any credentials of any kind really got in. We were not given orders to allow anyone.
And
even
how long were
positions,
you
authorities?
How long were you stationed there, or did you guard that area?
I was guarding that area for about 4 months.
Don't you think it's kind of strange that no one would show up within 4 months to investigate a mine collapse, killing dozens of people?
I personally think so. Yes, of course. That it's very strange.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever actually see the site?
I was, in fact, allowed to go nearby the site, yes, but we were received strict orders to not investigate it ourselves.
Did you ever question why that was?
Personally, yes, but I did not ask my employers about why.
And why was that? Why didn't you ask your direct boss about that?
As a mercenary, you know that if you're not the boss, you don't really get to ask questions about why or not. Or you could be easily let go. We are voluntary employment.
I see, at will.
By my own I know that this is not really a particularly good defense, as in it's not a justifiable defense, but I was following orders and leaving it at that.
It's okay, you're not on trial here, so...
And that's true.
Any I'm talking to the rest of the group here. Any idea of where to go from here?
Do we know if Cubebot is actually like a qualified structural engineer of any sort?
He said it was
a good question. But here's the thing: as Cubebot, he has to know at least something about construction because that's what he does.
Yes.
So you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and roll as if he, had a skill in this, like a good skill in this. If it is sub 10, you know what? It's going to be a risky roll, but that's actually still relatively easy though. So, over 20 would be unambiguous. Yes. Okay. Yeah, you're good. Yes, he counts as
Does Cubebot know how to stack rocks?
Cubebot knows how to stack rocks. 100%. Yeah.
I guess I then ask Mr. Trout, I think his name was, did you, in your time guarding that for 4 months, happen to notice anything strange or particular about the mining site?
It was definitely definitely very structurally unsafe, which is self-explanatory given the collapse. But in particular, there was very little attention being paid towards comfort of the miners, and also in the form of what would you call it? Well, just really not just doing things as quickly as possible and digging a hole out. It was a very large hole at that.
Would you say that the speed at which the hole was being dug in combination with the, I guess the miners' discomfort, like were the conditions bad? Was that how this collapse was caused?
My expert opinion in this case, yes, would be that that the mine was extremely unsafe and was being, let's say, directed by an incompetent who does not know what they were doing. At best, and maliciously at worst, forcing them to dig as quickly and as effectively as possible for short-term gains.
So
it was basically a strip mine underground, which is absurd, you know?
So to reiterate, bad working conditions of what caused the deaths of these people.
I would argue, yes, that bad working conditions was the death of at least the majority of the people who were there.
And a reminder for the court, who is in charge of the mines?
Which actually the defense will actually claim out and give out a completely different name, which is not Kakiganje, because what she is claiming right here is throwing someone under the bus, basically, to take responsibility for this, which was one Confeto Ergo. Confeto Ergo is the one who is managing that particular mine, who unfortunately passed last week. Not last week, like a number of months ago, actually.
I'm gonna, I guess, roll a sort of knowledge roll. I don't know if to use the Kepra Chumboard history or if to use the knowledge that I brushed up on last session in terms of like the law, but wouldn't the Baron of the planet have the final say in any terraforming project?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like 100% had the final
like I don't
say.
even need to roll
However,
for
it
that?
depends on. You can roll for that. You don't need to roll for that. Yeah, there'd be a final say involved there anyway. That's a Baron. They have the final say in everything. Like
Yeah.
this is a technically feudalistic point of space. They are full autocrat. But the thing is that currently what is being argued for is that delegation may have caused this issue, and that's not necessarily the fault of my boss, basically.
I see. I turn to the group, do we have any evidence that like directly links Kaki with being the guy who's telling them to dig faster? Trying to think if we had any. I really should have written all this stuff down as we did it over the last couple months.
For what it's worth, I kind of sprung this on you just, a couple weeks ago, as opposed to like telling you that all of this would be necessary. Because I didn't decide that I would be doing this exactly until a few weeks ago.
If they're trying to play this off as the fault of a bad subordinate actor who was going against the wishes of Kakiganga, then why was there no local investigation into the aftermath of the event?
Oh, that's a fair point, yeah.
Yeah, you can bring that up. That's good. I like that.
Actually, yeah, when they provide this secondary name, Mr. Sanchez, is that a name that you're familiar with?
One Confeto Ergo, it actually is not. Again, because we were... my claim is that that we were employed directly by Ganje to investigate, or rather guard the mine. But I did not go through any one Confeto Ergo, no.
So if he was there to stop or to prevent people from interfering with an investigation that never existed and the investigation never showed up, that seems just like a gross violation of workplace safety laws, if nothing else. Even if Kaki was not involved in the mine collapses by direct orders, he did not investigate and punish people responsible.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So wouldn't that be like a negation of the duties anyway for, meeting the material needs of his people?
Mhm.
At least
You
in
can
a sense of
tell.
justice.
You can tell that, by the way, that the defense is not peaked up much during this because they plan to do a cross-examination for this
I
one.
see.
Mhm.
Trying to think what else can link him here.
I don't remember much of the exact scene that was specifically linked.
When
Other,
I guess one of the
yeah.
things when we got the footage
Yeah.
for were there
We got the
people like
footage. We have. Did
Yeah,
we
so-
collect material from that?
I was wondering, like, in the actual footage we have, is it very easy to see that there are people, like, collapsed in rocks and everything?
I went
Yes,
down
you-
to it directly and shot that, yeah.
Yeah, like
there
you
was
can dig
the worker
people out.
barracks that we also investigated. That was
Yes.
separate from that.
And so there was
And
like a
in
zero
those-
recovery operation going on to at least try to identify bodies or anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely none.
Mhm. Let's see.
You can look in at the Saint Barulles mech over there, and because that is not the physical representation of a person, you cannot actually see them move. But you can tell that Kaki is just constantly wiggling in his seat, wish that he could say anything, but it's a bad idea for the defendant to actually say things himself, unless asked to.
I asked Mr. Trout, so in your time guarding the mine, you saw the actual pit where the collapsed, right?
Yes, it was extremely hard to miss, in fact.
And there were still bodies around and mechs and whatnot in the collapsed area, right?
Well, I cannot say for sure that there were any bodies outside of the hole. Exactly. I was not allowed to look into. Neither I nor anyone was allowed to look into, say, the barracks or directly into the hole. But I would say that I definitely saw, let's call them silhouettes and buried shapes in the sand in there.
And so there was no recovery operation at all to try to reclaim these bodies?
Absolutely none, as far as I'm aware. Maybe there was one planned that was going to take a very long time, but none that I'm aware of, and none that happened during my tenure as a guard in the location.
Wouldn't you say that's like a gross negligence of the duty of the mine operator to do that?
I would say so, yes.
And even if the mine's operator was in negligence of the duty, wouldn't it fall the responsibility of that person's boss to, where, the buck finally stops with them in order for them to...
The defense will stand up on this and argue, objection, to claim that every single subordinate has, every single subordinate underneath, Kaki Gange being negligent of something or other would mean that anything caused by anyone, basically, would lead to an accusable crime being levied at my client.
Okay, I withdraw
Basically
that
making a
question
slippery slope argument at that, pretty much.
I withdraw that question and then ask, so the defense says that they had no knowledge of this incident, the cave-in incident, yet they told you to go guard it for several months and prevent people from going in there. Don't you find that strange?
I personally find it strange.
Yes, and then the defense will get a say again. While we were waiting until our cross-examination of Mr. Trout Sanchez to bring this up, Mr. Sanchez has not provided any proof of any kind, nor has the prosecution that they actually were put into their position by one Mr. Gange, and our argument is that was not the case, in fact.
So they're saying that Trout never was actually employed by...
Yes.
Kaki. Even though he said that at the beginning of his statement.
Yes.
They're going to disavow him.
I see.
Yes.
Uh,
Which actually the judge will bring up once that gets brought up. If you were planning on bringing this up, why did you not do so when Mr. Sanchez proffered the idea that he was employed by Mr. Gange immediately? To which the defense will just straight up say, "We apologize for waiting on that. We wanted to get it all done in one cross-examination if we could help it. But clearly that was a mistake on our end."
I turn to the group and say, should we let them cross-examine and try to call them on stuff? Because I don't know what else to say here.
I don't know if we have anything else really to go over. So
Have we
Yeah.
brought up the people in the pit being shot yet? If not, then we could use that during the cross-exam if they try and brush anything off.
oh, that's a good point.
I think
yeah.
we got one last thing to do here while we have the floor.
If you have ideas, go
Because
for
there's
it.
no way to miss this opportunity. So, Mr. Sanchez, in the course of your work, you handle extrudite.
I do handle extrudite.
Yes.
I handle quite a lot of extrudite, in fact.
You are familiar with its use in creating temporary or permanent structures.
I am, yes.
In your time on Kepra, did you encounter any other applications of the technology that you employ yourself?
Yes, I mean, very clearly it would be extremely useful in additional construction. Of which that there's plenty you can do with that.
And to elaborate, did you encounter in your time any other operators or facilities that employed extrudite and its related machinery on the planet?
During my time on the planet, I would say no. There has actually been none. Which, as you bring up, is a little bit strange. Extrude cube. Cube men.
So if he's saying that there wasn't any other bots that basically did
There were
construction,
not any other cube bots, despite extrudite being a very widespread and well-known technology, and as demonstrated by Mr. Sanchez's employment on Kepra, it was within the ability of Khaki Ganger to acquire the services of an expert on the subject.
so are we asking why there wasn't more housing? Like I don't know where this line of questions is going.
Going towards, so, as an expert in the use of this material, as a reinforcing structural component, what would you estimate the workload? Could you provide us an estimate of the workload that would be required of you to properly reinforce the site of the mining collapse?
Me and my robot alone, it would not take very, very long. If about a week at most, honestly.
We
The
do
sim-
have on
the-
record various measurements of the geological status and technical specifications of the mining pit. They're available for review.
The easiest way to deal with that, honestly, that the first and foremost is that they very well could have just converted the entire thing into a full strip mine. Which is to say, to cut out the ceiling as well, just to move that around and get it out of there. Because part of the ceiling is what collapsed. The area just became too large and wide. And so it could not, hold its own weight anymore, and the cavern collapsed. They built it too wide, too large. If they had simply
dug out the roof, or as you say, reinforced the roof greatly with a stronger material, which I could do in about a week, that would have solved the issue entirely. Yes.
Do you have any idea why they may have not converted to a full strip mine?
Well, if there's no other people on this planet or rather, no other machines on the planet that could produce this as quickly as possible, like I have here, it could very well have just been a lack of interest in paying for an import.
So they weren't concerned about workplace safety, in other words.
That sounds about right, yes.
Did you have anything else? I don't know where you were going with this. I'm just
All right,
trying to help.
mostly just to continue to build, to put more supporting cubes on the other side of things of, yep, whoever it was that was in charge of this mine that remains under dispute deliberately avoided reasonable measures that could have made the place safer, and perhaps by making it an underground operation instead of an open pit, made it more dangerous.
Do we have any reason to believe they were trying to hide something? I don't really know what the purpose of the pit was in the first place. Did we ever get information with that from Komodo?
Yeah, we might have to move
that was
on to a
actually-
different witness to explore that angle.
Give me 1 second as I look this up. I do believe I actually had a reason written down for that.
The important thing here is to have discussion of cubes on the court record.
Cubebot is important, and cubes need
As
to
an
be
expert in
known as-
cubes.
All right, so the reason for why that this mine even existed in the first place actually is a little bit unclear, because yes, the very, very straightforward answer of they were digging up rare metals to be used in this is it's a viable answer. However, exactly what metals, like the actual output of the mine, is actually currently not even mentioned in any of the various listings, because whatever they were digging out is unknown. They haven't done like an analysis basically of like what was going on in there and whether or not there was any traces of, say, radiation from it being radioactive materials that they were looking for, or if there was simply just like some gold dust, if it was just for noble metals or something like that. That has also not currently occurred.
Probably should have asked those questions, but like I think it's too late at this point since we already left the mine months ago to get a full idea of what that was. It's oversight on our part.
You hate to see it.
And then the defense will raise their hand of like, all right, we would like to begin our cross-examination of Chad Sanchez now.
Sure, I say go for it.
Cubes have been acknowledged.
Prosecution rest.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait,
So,
so
Mr.
walk up there? Oh, I should have done that.
You were able to walk up there at any time. Yeah, you don't have to, but you can. And just, it's a power move by one of the lawyers to get directly next to, up to here, which, technically speaking, in a real court of law, actually, you're very much discouraged from doing this. And if you actually get too close, a bailiff will tackle you. That's actually
Need
part of the thing.
permission to step in.
But as you can see here, there's no bailiff, so they're allowed to do it whatever they want. All right, Mr. Trout Sanchez, you have claimed a number of times that you are directly employed by Kakiganje. However, do you have any proof of this in any way? And then Sanchez will go,
Unfortunately, I do not have any proof aside from my word, as the actual employment stubs that we were receiving, I do not have a signed name on them, nor do I have what my boss would have provided for. However, because unfortunately my boss was one of the ones who died in the attack there.
So
And
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah. However, I can claim that from just being told and speaking to my boss, and I will stick by the claim that I was in fact employed by Mr. Gange, in that over the course of those 4 months. All right. So we only have your word then that that was your employer. All right. Well, very well. Moving on. Mr. Sanchez, would you agree that it is, given the climate of the planet, that it is more comfortable to work in underground environments than it is to work in above ground environments? And Travel will respond with,
That does depend. If you mean purely from a temperature standpoint, then yes, but there are many other concerns to be made.
but then, I only asked a yes or no question. You don't need to continue on.
I like these walking back and forth.
So, in the underground, more stable temperature-wise environment on Kepra in the mine, it is claimed that as unsafe as it was, at the very least, it might have been comfortable to live in those environments, given the location, at least compared to if it was an open pit mine. Would you believe otherwise then that it might have simply been oversight to have not reinforced the ceiling? Maybe due to just a particularly productive group of workers? And Sanchez,
I vehemently disagree with that. If you were following any form of safety standards, then it wouldn't have come to that.
And so, get shut up again by your answer was done in the first couple of words. And so on. Kind of just continues to go on this set of points of like, are you really an expert exactly? You were not called as an expert witness to the stand, but merely as a material witness. Are you sure? We have not done a background check into your expertise as a construction expert. Do you believe that we should consider your expertise admissible right here now? And you would swear on oath that you are in fact a degree-holding expert in construction.
Cube extrusion.
Yeah, in cube extrusion, basically. To this, unfortunately, tries to say,
I do not have a degree as such, but I would otherwise defend my knowledge and skill in cube extrusion.
Yep, and very well. In buildology, sure. And they'll actually just go with no further questions unless you want to interrupt them during their questioning.
I mean, we had video footage of exactly how good Qbot is at cubing.
Yeah, I was about to say I want a quick rebuttal on this one.
Well, okay, being experienced at something and being like the argument being made here isn't being good at it, it's being
an expert.
An expert.
Accredited expert, yeah, which is actually a
okay.
You could be a accredited expert without having a degree or anything, but a background check would have had to have been done over this to look into your previous employments. And because Qbot was not called as an expert witness, but a material witness, so on. That hasn't happened.
I want to do a threat assessment check.
Sure.
In order to pilot a Qbot, do you not have to at least be certified in cube production?
I mean, that's what I was going to go for. I mean, if we get to a rebuttal here.
Do you want to make the roll, or shall I?
If you want to do the threat assessment one, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, go for the threat assessment, that's fine. But I was going to ask in a rebuttal.
Their rolls have been very low today.
Yeah, actually, the defense will let that through and accept a response but does recommend remember to be truthful and accurate with your answer because that's important in this in a court of law. To which Trout will admit to.
Well, objectively, yes. In most situations, you would need to be certified to be able to pilot one of these. It is undeniable that in the mercenary scene, especially out in the frontier, that quite a lot of piracy in the form of, digital piracy goes on. And the printing of the parts and creation of mechs that you may not necessarily have certification for is very common. And I have to admit that I do not own a proper certification to have been given this robot in the first place. However, I did go off. I can absolutely at any given time go earn that certification now. It would simply take a few months and it would be a pain in the ass is the main point.
As somebody who people have gone, why don't you just get certified in next programming language? I've gone,
Yeah, sure, I know it already, and I'm actually quite good at it, but the problem is that all of the certification shit, it's annoying, it takes a long time, and it's a pain in the ass.
And it costs money.
Yeah, that too. And then, thankfully, Mr. Chat Sanchez, that you are not on trial for any form of digital piracy or anything of the such. So, I would claim no further questions.
I trusted you, Trout.
Hey, Trout actually did give some good, was good witness for a number of different things, but the defense had some moves to make.
Can't believe you didn't even at least get your certification.
All right.
I turn to the group. Should we call a recess to figure out what we're doing next here? Who we're gonna get up here? Because I think we should start working on the murder angle, but we need to put something together before we start this.
That seems like a good idea to me.
Yeah, what time is it?
Yeah.
How much time has passed?
Oh, I would say it's basically real time. I mean, that means it's been like an hour and a half. You're aware of that, right? We've actually been doing this for quite a while already.
Yeah.
Defense calls
And
recess. Or
prosecution calls recess.
Sorry, Ace Attorney mind. It's a court thing, and just immediately.
All right, yeah. Well, gesture at the defense, who just shrug. It's like, yeah, recess sounds great. No problem. Recess is just always a good time, really. Because they have a reactive place in this, they don't have any reason to make sure to get as much information out as quickly as possible at the moment.
Yeah. Q, you need to get certified, my dude.
It's a pain, though. All right, well, if this recess is going to occur, then yeah, a recess can occur. Go into various extra side rooms that I'm not going to move you to or anything like that, but feel free to do any extra discussion outside of the court if you want right now.
Yeah, well, aside from the murder angle that we could go on, I wonder if we could get connected with a witness that would say that this is a huge violation of that stuff. But I don't even know if that line of questioning is worth going into anymore because we know that this mine was unsafe, but we can't really prove that Khaki was behind it.
They offered up in their opening statements that they're claiming the information we got from the gang fortress was faked.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which I
not
kind of
necessarily
wonder.
by you, but that it was faked by someone else.
What was the information exactly that we got?
Wouldn't the proof of burden go on to them to prove that it's false?
Which is what
given
they're
that this is
going to do.
Yeah, that's the idea. That's why they're presenting a witness just to explain that it is in fact false. So they are doing proof of burden on that.
All right, so we have access to their evidence though. So I feel like gonna preemptively offer up a hack or fix roll to look over that and see how good it how much did they pay to try and put the real fake data into this? What did they miss any spots?
All right, so they're actually going about this in a completely different way. What this is that as the data is actually not changed at all. The data is actually exactly as you got it. The thing is that that data they are claiming has been falsified by just having someone be there to be the one who claimed that they falsified it. Basically, what you assume is this is pretty clearly real. They actually have someone who's here to lie on stand.
All right then. So we are ready to point at the numbers that don't lie.
Yeah, because you can go talk to a witness if you wanted to, or like be at least aware of them. They were actually one of the they were in one of the mechs. They were the Mirage that just kind of was there and didn't really do anything. Is the teleporting mech that can teleport other characters.
All right. It would be me admitting that I did hire fascists, but if we go with the angle of those were them that I hired, we could bring in...
You could bring them up, yeah, and bring them in, yes.
the 2 employees.
Or you could talk to them first to see if you want to.
I feel like it would be enough to just let them put their witness up and then roast him over inconsistencies.
But yeah, in case of that falling through, actually, because I had the roll for this, would this be an influence or efficiency check for organization?
It's a efficiency.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, their response to this would be, depending on who the person is, and you actually do know exactly what the role was. They were the, let me scroll down because I had it written down just right there. Jamie Tarak is the database manager of that group, which is to say all of the server stuff would go through them. Thing is that they weren't exactly the one who reported the, all of that stuff to them, so they at least know that they're not the mastermind that was claimed as such by the by the defense. They're just whoever was maintaining those servers. The mastermind's dead. The mastermind was the person, the support bot that got cooked in the lava. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
All right, we could use this.
You could, yeah. That's something like. They are not the person that they claim to be, on top of probably lying on the witness stand. All right.
Yeah, I think we can proceed with that.
A good old-fashioned 10-minute recess.
I rushed back in from the bathroom. What did I miss?
No, we figured out what we want to talk about.
Okay, good. As long as someone knows what they're doing.
Is this both in and out of character?
Yes, both.
Yeah.
Okay, so I contacted.
Yeah.
I have committed to. I hired 2 dudes from this facility that we attacked. So they may be fascists or former fascists at the very least.
Well,
and
You
they
play this as a rehabilitation angle, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, 100%. I would not actually hire fascists.
if you ask for any footage of anything during this, I'm gonna bring up the footage of us doing the Rube Goldberg bear trap banana peel thing.
Oh, but you're
Wait, are
gonna
we
cut
doing-
out the part at the end, I'm assuming, where
Yeah, we cut that part out. Yeah, that's not. No.
Where Clark Isaacson
Yeah.
shoots 2 guys in the face.
yeah, the part where Gibraltar walked up to the
Yeah.
ones who were on the floor and shot them in the head as they were, on the ground dying.
Yeah, that part's not. Yeah, no.
So
Yeah.
the information for this, I thought you hired the guys from the hangar.
Yes,
One.
that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
the hangar where we got the information. So
I see.
that we know who their witness is, and they're claiming that they were the mastermind behind the data and manipulated it and all this other crap. Wherein that guy actually died. That guy was in the support bot.
You know, the one who you tried to, who was ended up in the thermodynamic vent with the lava in it, the support bot that fell into there, and you tried to dig them out afterwards, but they were cooked in their own mech. That was the guy who is technically the leader. So
that's still unsafe that he was able to fall down there.
Yeah, actually, can we break
True, that was unsafe.
Yeah, they didn't have any handrails. Yeah, that was wow.
Speaking of workplace safety, anyway.
Actually, I went down there. I got that footage, technically.
No handrails. The floor came out. This place was not designed well. Anyway,
it wasn't. All right, if that's
We
you're
have
good to go
that.
and get ready to.
They're gonna put this scarecrow up to be like, I'm in charge of all the data, and we can be like, bullshit.
Well, no, they were in charge of all the data, but that's it. That's the only thing that they were in charge of. All right. But that was actually their second witness that they offered. They actually have a first witness that they have in practice here first, which that is who they're going to be calling to the stand, which is going to be someone in... Hold on. I actually have to have this as a defendant representative swapper. Sorry.
Sorry, I'm laughing at something unrelated, but also related.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, to be fair, that's in character, I think. So
Yeah, this is canon.
Yeah, no, this is fine.
All right, so
It's being kind of quiet.
it's fine. Don't worry about it. This is a I'm keeping to it being quite a lot of non-combat stuff, and if you don't have anything to say, I get it being kind of dull.
No, this is great. I love fucking RP and shit. Let's go.
Okay, solid. No, I mean, I literally just like fell asleep. Sorry. I'm back.
No worries. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I get it. You're fine. Yeah, let me go ahead and grab a token real quick, because I actually don't have...
Summary to
catch
catch
up
up.
on the deets so
We're
far?
up 2 points of jury opinion because we
Okay.
were able to successfully argue that living conditions on the planet suck ass and
Okay.
don't have to.
Okay, yeah, that's
really
about
don't
the
have
last
to.
thing I caught was Kuvo's like opening argument and the argument towards yeah, just like the pillars of like human treatment and humane treatment and all that stuff. Yeah.
And
we
then
brought
we
CubeBot to
we brought
stand.
CubeBot in to
Do not
comment
remember
on the
that.
state of the mine collapse.
We actually brought the CubeBot, huh? We brought
Yes.
the parrot to testify? All right, tight. just
CubeBot...
Yep.
QBot was not like was not a harmful thing to bring in, but also did not actually fully tilt the case in your favor.
CubeBot was a bit indecisive. It was give and take what we got out of CubeBot.
So what we're playing for now is that they are bringing in witnesses to prove that the incriminating data that we got from the base was falsified. But one of the counter arguments we have is that I hired 2 dudes from that base. So we have that their witness is actually bullshit.
Yeah. But
okay.
that's actually not the witness they're bringing up first.
Second witness.
Yeah, that is their second witness. The first witness, actually, is one Rutherford A. Arthur, who was, worth noting, this was the manager at the, hold on, let me go ahead and look at the thing I just posted on it. I always forget what this is called. Folks, place where staffing agency, that's it. Okay. Place where you go assign people who got hired. This is the manager of the staff agency that you fucking, infiltrated, claiming that you were going to be filming a commercial for them. And
We did
no
that.
commercial ever occurred. That was false. That didn't happen. So they brought in a witness here who is here to basically point out some prosecution bias. and possibly maybe underhanded tactics and whatnot to get their evidence, based off of you being there under false pretenses. And so Ericlin Gregbert, the defense lawyer, walks up to the I guess you'd call it's a hologram of Mr. Arthur, who is currently wearing the just generic token here, and is going to point out, like, I know that you can't see the actual people inside the mechs right now, Mr. Arthur, and just holds, like, sends a file of whomst is, like, attached to which mech. Can you point out to me the people who you identified in that, let's call it an incursion into your workplace, and is going to look through them and asking you to identify the person in the room that you saw that day. That's technically not a leading question. Okay. That's actually a
incursion is.
Yes, but incursion is being very forward about it. However, the judge let that slide earlier as well when you did it. So,
Doc, I want to make a roll against him pointing people out.
I was already going to do it. I know what you're about to ask.
Okay, yes.
And is going to point out, like, new business strain, because Gibraltar is actually relatively, like, identifiable, and you were specifically the one who actually ended up going into his office, having been end up in there. Also, at Salt,
no one saw me do it legally. Like, nobody actually saw it happen, so I rolled real good to make sure no one saw it. Yeah. They don't know. They don't know shit.
But Salt is the one who's definitely going to get pointed out, because Salt was there specifically and told the lies about the commercial.
Yeah. That was very much up front. Salt, you did edit that commercial, right? We just ended up not airing it. They didn't pay for it. That's
I got that commercial right here. Like, they never sent the check, right? Like, why am I going to air it?
And also going to point at Pushing Up Daisies about that, because you were there as well. You were actually at the front gate. You walked in, was the one who social engineered the situation.
But Clarkson
and then
wasn't.
Generally kind of, like, point out there was a third guy, but it's really hard to point out exactly who it was. I think it was that one. He's going to point at professional responsibility, because you're the only one who even vaguely counts, so you're not going to fully get away with it. But, like, I mean, he's really boring. I think it was that guy.
Sounds like some wishy-washy ass testimony.
Hey, the other two I can say 100% is those two, but I don't know. I didn't get a good look at get a good look at either of them, in any way. I mean, this image is pretty blurry, sir. The image is not blurry at all. It's quite close. It's like my eyesight's not great, but it's good enough. I can see. Well, regardless, so two of the people in this room were investigated your company without it being clear that was what was going on. Is that what you would claim? That what you would say here, sir? At least two of them, yeah. Which I will give this out to you 100% real quick. If my memory was wrong, I understand if you did try to get through all that without getting noticed even the slightest bit.
Yeah.
My memory could be wrong about that. And
I even made a point to not kill somebody. That's how nice I was. I was getting all my good boy points in that day, so that later on I could dive through a window and assassinate someone with a pen.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. So I will retract anything that I would have said on that part for you, but because of that, you can actually there's a very easy angle of attack here that you have. Fucking Salt and Pushing Up Daisies, Hans, Gunther, Hamburger, first offer. That's it. You actually didn't investigate shit. You were there just for the.
We just found the commercial.
You were
just there for the commercial examination because this guy's going down.
Yeah. We shot the commercial. They didn't send a check to pay for the commercial. Damn.
I even
Yeah,
have
we
the
can,
edited video here.
Yeah.
I could show.
Yeah, you can play the commercial, be like, here's the commercial, but like they never paid for it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so let this guy continue his examination here for a second.
Yeah, what other points does he have to raise with his questioning?
Right. So, it is of my opinion if some examination was done under false pretenses and that they were you were lied to about the reasons why they were there, because you didn't need a warrant. That's actually not the case. Like that's not necessary in this space, in particular because you've done a lot of investigation that didn't have anything to do with it, but it is still all legally admissible. In this case, though, the idea is that if you did in fact lie about it, there's not really much reason for you to allow this as real evidence, because you could have gotten stuff from anywhere if that was the case. But for this one, yeah, it's just going to lead into would you agree that if they were there under false pretenses and like lying to your face about why they were there, that the evidence found in your workplace should not be counted as legally admissible evidence? Basically.
Objection, speculation.
Yeah. Well, the judge will go sustained. Please keep your questions relevant solely to the witness and not about the legal status of what occurred during that day. It is not what is being tried here.
Is any of the data that we acquired from that office even directly part of our case? Because we
As far
used
as
that
I know,
information to find out
Yeah,
where
we found where
the
miner
militia
hangar
compound
was.
was,
Yeah.
so we could go raid that.
We just found
Technically-
it. We
yeah,
just
from
found
that
the
situation.
compound. By luck. You can't prove shit.
Planet's not that big.
Well, I hope he tries
Yeah.
to bring that one up because that one's going to get objective for relevancy.
Yeah.
Well, and actually, like, there's really not that much else going on there. It's just going straight up going to leave it at, like, all right, so we've put out the idea that, hey, that evidence may be not useful. And now it's allowed, you're allowed to cross-examine if you want.
I guess
Okay.
step one is what evidence?
I cross-examine. I'll ask the witness. So you identified me, myself, and who's the other one?
Salt.
Salt, as filming a commercial that day, correct?
Yeah, that's what you told me anyway.
Mm-hmm. Were you aware of the contents of this commercial?
It was going to be some form of... He's trying to specifically not say the word propaganda. It was supposed to make the workplace look attractive. It was supposed to attract more more employees to be put into staffed in positions that need to be staffed. It was an advertisement.
Do you have any knowledge of the payment structure for the contract behind the workplace commercial?
Well, no, because I just assumed that, and he is actually in character stuttering over here because the information that I was given about this situation, Mr. Gadget was paying for it.
So the information you have is not firsthand. This is secondhand information you have.
Well, meeting you was firsthand. Not
True,
me.
but the reason we were
an
there
employee
is
of mine.
secondhand information.
I mean, it's what you said anyway.
I have a move.
And he is looking confused because he's not very smart. So
I asked to Salt. We indeed filmed a commercial that day, and you have some of the footage for that, correct?
Yeah, we ended up having to reuse some of the footage to make another commercial since they never paid. But I have that one with the edited footage. I will play it right now.
Yeah. Can we submit into evidence footage of that commercial, just whatever we took in that office that day?
As I take out a literal VHS tape.
Thankfully, Net Profit does have a VHS player.
Yeah, I do. Don't worry. And I pop it in.
There is nowhere that will hold on to outdated formats longer than a legal system. It's true.
All right, here's the commercial.
So
Do you need better security? Show me your badge. Oh, we're here to shoot a commercial, and then it clearly shows like a zoom in of a fake badge. All clear, go ahead. And then afterwards is some embarrassing scenes of that exact guy yelling at his staff to get him a coffee and calling them incompetent as he adjusts his tie on the roof for our promotion shot that we did. Judiciary Outcomes is the best in the biz. Call now.
I would like to submit that into evidence and have that be in there.
I have a move. I have a line
for it.
to put upon this. So, Mr. Npepa is a known media personality and independent content creator.
Have you never thought about the fact that his last name is Npepa?
It's
I
true.
didn't think. Yeah, I didn't think about that until just now. Mr. and
Well-
Peppa is the funniest thing I've ever done.
Oh,
If
damn.
he asked for the N.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Now, his work in that field as a producer of independent media is separate and distinct from his role as a member of Judiciary Outcomes, even in such scenarios that he contracts that separate service to Judiciary Outcomes in service of our legal operations.
That's true.
That is actually completely true with how your company's set up. 100%. Yeah.
I was
Furthermore-
also famous before this job, so you hired me on as an expert video production assistant and producer.
Yeah.
Furthermore,
I do believe that's true.
to approach another in a public space under false pretenses for the purposes of creating independent entertainment media on small scales falls within the legal definition of just a prank bro. A doctrine
I
which
was literally
has
going
said
to ask if
since
Isaiah was
time
about to
immemorial.
invoke prank. Prank law.
prank law.
Prank law has been in the judicial system for over 3,000 years.
Prank law is ancient doctrine.
You have to respect prank law.
Gotta respect Frank
for
Law.
that statement, Clarkson breaks from whatever space language we speak in future to say in English, just a prank bro.
So my plan here was actually going to be that you basically, because this is one of the opponent's witnesses, that this would be a role basically to not lose a point of jury opinion, but this is all very good. This is going to be a lose or gain situation now. You can gain more jury opinion off of how thoroughly you're crushing this.
Also, hey, by drawing attention to this man and his unrelated Kaki Ganje security office that is definitely associated with the dynasty, is the defense asserting that there is some relevance to Mr. A. Arthur's operations with respect to the other subjects of this case?
That is unnecessary. That is, they're going to claim speculation at you over this. To brought that up basically. And you can give me a roll right here to determine whether or not this gets overruled or not. That the rest of that on the line of questions.
All right, unless someone else has a more powerful die to cover with than a plus
I was going to
2.
say, we have pretty hard evidence of the fact that we were there shooting a commercial. It's pretty obvious. So,
However, yeah, but the speculation is what? So is
Hey,
maybe the
this-
fact that there was a
speculation of
terrorist
being
group that
like,
we found out?
Hey,
yeah.
why are we discussing this man and the very unrelated incident
Yeah,
that
makes
occurred at
sense.
his office?
yeah, the witness is trying to push doubt on our material evidence when it is in fact
just
them who is,
relevance of this witness?
yeah,
What is he
why is
for?
he
Yeah,
here?
that's my question earlier was literally, what evidence? What evidence are you claiming is discounted by us being at this building?
Is
where
someone
none of
else
the
better at
evidence we're
staying
using
cool
today-
than I am, or something similar?
I only have sneaky and stabby dice, so someone else has to roll.
I could roll a charm.
Yeah.
25.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, you not only get not just like the irrelevance thing is sorry, the speculation gets over, like calling speculation gets overruled, and you're allowed to keep going on the questioning, the new questioning on Arthur of like, but actually, doesn't this witness right here actually further prove our point? Actually, in like this connection can be made between you and your dynasty. This all gets like really helps out, and
This guy
just to
who is
speed
on the
this part
phone
along.
wearing his khaki gang helmet and his khaki gang vest, waving a tiny khaki gang flag. Would you say before the court whether or not you have any affiliation with the khaki gang? We don't know this guy.
Khaki gang.
Gonna need another roll. This is the one that actually determines journey opinion swing, and you made it to either no downside or just a point. There's no possible way of losing one at this point. You've swung this completely into your favor, basically.
What do you want to roll?
I mean,
Yeah,
I guess
I want a roll. Anyone can do it. That's how it works.
no difficulty.
No difficulty. Just pure. Just do it. You can justify
I'm gonna
a
say
point of accuracy as
we're
well,
trying
I think.
to charm the witness, I guess, or not the witness, charm the jurors into saying that like this witness was pulled mainly to discredit us. Why is this happening?
Okay, I can
Good
think
This
of
witness
ways.
was pulled to discredit us, and actually, I think that this witness's presence here is actually further crediting the evidence and like connections that we are making here, rather
Okay,
than
I
what
can-
they intended.
And the fact that they're trying
wow.
to tie the evidence that was
Dang.
not acquired from the office
That
to
was the
this
worst
activity in the
possible roll.
office
That's a
is
nat one,
very
yeah.
strange.
Willing to dive in and try to save with I can invent or create here, or I suppose hack and fake. They're both the same rating, but so at the time, so like segueing while we have you here, what do you think Clarkson was doing while he was just in the van traveling about? He has a lot of communications logs of transmissions that were happening just over open air in the vicinity
fair.
of the building, which is the kind of thing you can do while conducting general surveillance in an investigation. And he's just going to start asking questions about phone calls that have come and gone from a Rutherford's office at various times. Just each time open-endedly, would you like to comment on?
And seeing where this is going,
Not
I'm going to
necessarily
go ahead
pressing for any of these, but being like, oh, I could
Yeah.
try to link this to the other thing. Are you sure you want this?
Yeah, going ahead and solving that, that's going to overall bring the jury opinion up, specifically and emphatically because the moment you start to press him, the persecution's going to retract their witness under as has been clearly shown by the prosecution. Sorry, the defense is doing this. Their incompetence as a witness in our case and whatnot. So they're going to move to retract the witness at this point.
Which
Yep,
a
we let
jury
him go.
can't look at that and be like, that's good.
Yeah, no, that's the jury looks at that and goes like,
Can they do
okay, yeah, this
Mission
dude was
accomplished.
definitely a problem. And
Yeah, that was some bullshit.
yeah, objectively they have to sustain the offer, but it definitely didn't help their case in the slightest that just happened. All right, well, it can be your turn to bring in another witness, or I could do the other one at this point. Either one's fine with me. It's up to you.
Traditionally, the defense continues to go, but unless we have something.
Who else do we have to actively call?
Funnily enough, we haven't even touched on the pirate stuff at all, so you could bring in teenager.
Yeah.
I was going to say teenager, right?
I think teenager, though, we have to be careful with him because he is definitely a conflict of interest at this point. Seeing how we hired him on, more or less.
Well, technically, he's an intern.
I was
No,
gonna say,
he's a full-fledged employee.
Oh yeah, no,
He,
oh yeah,
he
we did
passed
get
the
him
bar at some point.
I was
Good
gonna
for
say,
him. Wow.
We-
okay.
We could bring him on, but 100% pointing out the fact that during the time beforehand, when what we were bringing him on for information, he was not an employee.
Yeah.
Providing
Stingray would
support
be a
of
better
that.
bet, honestly.
Providing support of that dash cam footage of Clarkson getting out of his mech and jetting across space to go punch him on the nose.
Yeah, I would say like Stingray's a better bet for conflict of interest reasons, but at the same time, like I don't know if we ever pulled information out of him after we basically kidnapped him to ask him what he was doing.
You did. The problem with Stingray is Stingray has very spotty and incomplete knowledge and memory, and the only thing that he could provide you was the name of the company that he worked for, and like most of what the mission was, but not even the complete mission of what they were there for.
I mean, we could just bring Teenager on and be like, hey, full heads up. Like, we did hire him on. He previously worked for them, and we took him on, and he's since passed the bar and all that stuff. And, like, bring up the fact that he's a lawyer now, too. Like, he's on the line. He's got, like, some stuff on the line if he lies in court, you know?
Teen's been ready for this. Teen has
objectively, like, there could be some conflict of interest statements going on it, but they would have to be proven, basically, and if Teen actually handles it well, then no, Teen is fine. There'd be no problem. And Teen flies on in and sits down in the chair, and because Teenager's in the smallest mech out of everyone, like including even smaller than Small Claims, he looks like a tiny baby mech inside the giant fake wooden chair on the stand. Mr. Nielsen, Teenager, could you please state your position and like occupation? Well, hi, I'm Nielsen Teenager. I'm a video producer and also employed law professional at Judiciaricums, and I'm a former pirate.
It's a great resume. Mr. Teenager, can you please describe what you were doing before we encountered you and eventually hired you onto your role with Judiciary Outcomes?
I was raiding ice transport ships on the way to... Wait, hold on. That's not the right voice. I was raiding... There it is. I was raiding ice transport
your
ships on the way...
re-raised.
On the way over to Kepra, shipped it from other places to terraform the planet because they don't have much water.
Who was in charge of you during your pirate employment?
Well, I was Les Saint-Rat Corsairs, like rights for... I have this written down. Hold on.
Yeah, that time you remember the blood rats.
Les Saint-Rat Corsairs was... Well, the thing is that we didn't really have like a boss. We were a pirate co-op, if you want to know what that means. We were all employee owned, is the idea.
I see. That's very smart of you. During your time, were you ever harassed by any of Kaki Granger's forces?
Way less than you'd think is the thing. Like, occasionally, like, some token resistance efforts are made, but really, nah, honestly. Nothing that was actually a threat to operation in the slightest, really.
So more or less, you were able to commit piracy unmolested.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so.
Would you characterize it as weird, considering the Baron of the planet is not concerned about any piracy on transports to his planet?
Which will be countered by the defense with the objection. We have made it clear many times before that Mr. Gange was very concerned about the piracy on the way to the planet.
Yeah, and that's why we have a witness here saying no. No.
Yeah, the judge will look at them and say, "Yeah, that's the point of this witness." Clearly,
Yeah, I wonder where he's going with this one.
Yeah, and
like, that's why we call the witness. Correct.
They will sit down. It's just like objection. What is it called? When the lawyer
Withdrawn?
Not overruled. The other one, withdrawn. That's it. Yeah, objection withdrawn.
Objection.
Yeah.
Mr. Teenager, during your piracy, what was the cargo that was normally pirated from?
Well, a lot of it was ice, which is kind of funny because, we didn't really have a tremendous amount of use for it. Honestly, what we ended up doing was selling it back on the planet for, an upcharge, really. It's just like there was not really much other ways to unload it. It's just ice, But there was occasionally like other things every now and again that we also pilfered, which is kind of like, food, rare metals, the standard pirate stuff. Rum,
These materials,
a lot of rum for some reason.
These materials that you pirated, would you say they were generally used for keeping the standard of living on Capra at a decent level?
They could definitely be used as such, for sure, sir.
Wouldn't you say it was within the Baron's responsibility to make sure that these materials reached the planet so his citizens could keep a good standard of living?
I mean, as far as I'm aware of the socio-political situation down there on Capra, that was extremely his responsibility as the Baron. As the Baron's, as the one role the Baron has, in fact, in their position in a barony, is the protection of the populace and their, and technically the comfort of them in exchange for taxes and other forms of currency being, in other forms of work being directed back towards them.
I see you've read
because
up.
a baron is basically a knight when you get down to it, which is the title actually applied to it, and that's kind of the actual situation of the baronies.
The prosecution would like to say that this is again a lack of responsibility on the part of the Baron to make sure that the material needs of the citizens are fulfilled.
As a member of this pirate cooperative, Mr. Teenager, did you take up any share of the duties as quartermaster for your organization?
Oh yeah, for sure. At least a couple times. Now people
I just wanted on the record after that barony statement, I lean over to Net Profit and go, "They were worried about sending up Teenager."
I mean, if you remember Teenager and how he actually introduced himself to you, he's actually really good at. Yeah, he's really smart and he's really good.
He knew all the stuff about the situation and the history of the planet. Yeah.
Would you say that you could provide a reasonable estimation of a manifest of the plunder your crew was able to acquire during their operations in the Capra system?
Now, I need to make it very clear to the court and everyone that this would be an approximation as just discussed. This is not an exact the exact numbers in the slightest, because it has been more than a couple years and some change since my last attack on your on the Flare planet, which I need to emphasize once more. That those days are gone. He explicitly does not say that he regretted doing it. He just says that those days are gone.
I want him to know that he can be relaxed, that he is not on court. Not in.
Imprecision is understandable and acceptable in this case. This is not an audit of your present or former crew.
And yeah, he will give him a couple of minutes, and he will start to rattle off about whatever amount of tons of ice. Occasionally, just like the entire ships, if they had a particularly profitable rate of being able to take the entire ship, basically.
And just go ahead and take those plunder numbers, divide them by population of Kepra. How much better would the standard of living on Kepra be had this piracy been effectively mitigated by military action?
Quite a lot. It wouldn't have solved all of their problems, not at all, but it definitely would have driven down the water at the very least, enormously. It would have driven down the price of food for a number of different reasons. Between part of the use of the water would have been to create lakes and ponds and whatnot where they could, raise fish, or to sow agriculture and so on and so forth in ways that, or even literally just to, revitalize the soil in some places, in some ways. And because of the, enormously reduced amount of water that they had access to, this caused, a lot of extra problems, basically, that they could have been fixed here.
I mean, I think part of the implication too is that this is only one of many, right? Teenager's operation was relatively small potatoes, right?
Yes, that one of probably at least a handful of. You don't really need that many
at
pirates.
6 or 7. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't really need that many because it's, supply lines are what they are. They don't come all the time. So,
And just kind of,
but yes.
we can take the ball that Nielsen has put up there for us and spike it down of intent in this case and level of concern are irrelevant. This demonstrates incompetence on the part of Khaki to provide military protection for his subjects, which is the thing an aristocrat is supposed to do.
That is specifically
job.
the
You're a
thing that they're
baron.
supposed to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you are a living contract to that end, yeah.
Mhm.
That is the feudal contract, and if it is not being upheld in practice,
Yeah, it's like,
the popular
if that's the
grievance
case,
is justified.
then not even the feudal part of this is going well, much less the actual union, guarantees for standards of human living. So that's a failure on both, like, local barony culture and the greater laws of the parts that they're actually objectively adhering to or supposed to adhere to. So it's kind of like, you failed on all accounts then, buddy. Which, yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%, I'd say so. Easy.
Should
Yeah.
the prosecution offer up a cross-examination on specifically just teenagers, since he seems to be quite capable?
fuck him up, Dean.
They're actually really weighing their options right now of whether or not a cross-examination on teenager would help or hurt them, and they're currently leaning on hurting them. Because, he actually does know quite a lot about the situation, which is, they would assume is surprising given that he is the moth-haired, idiot in the tiny
the
pirate
bar.
mech. Yeah, he's really smart.
He knows the law.
Yeah, to that end, they're actually going to not follow up with any further questions on teenager. They're actually just going to let him go at that point.
My love of abducting NPCs into the party is paying off in spades.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely throw a thumbs up to teenager across the courtroom for doing a kick-ass job.
Yeah, he's gonna get a big, well, not big because it's the tiniest mech available, but like a very enthusiastic double thumbs up that are shaking up and down,
Nice.
Also, thank you, Dubs. You're absolutely right. I love doing teenager. He's the best.
Before teenager leaves the stand, real quick, I just want to, for the sake of the jury, avoid any confusion. How old are you?
Oh, I'm 36.
Okay, thank you.
It's just my name, everybody.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Teenager.
I can't wait for him to become teenager PhD. It's gonna rock.
Dr. Teenager.
Right now, he is. Once he actually sets up if he were to set up his own place, he would be Teenager Esquire. All he'd have to do is set up his own law firm.
I hope one day there is teenager and teenager law firm.
Teenager, and Sons. My large teen sons. All right. Well,
It's just our name. We're actually quite old. That's what it says at the end of every commercial.
Even the sons, they're in their late 20s. All right, yeah, and then they're going to call up their final witness at this point.
This is the one we know is iffy, right?
This is the one you know for sure is iffy, yeah. Just based off of what you know.
Domestic terrorist Mirage.
They wanted to swear him in as domestic terrorist.
They have an actual name. This is purely what I just grabbed the token.
It's just
right,
the model of my robot. It's just called that.
Objectively, thanks, Ty, for giving him the voice. All right.
Yeah, no problem.
He's from Conswinson.
This is my gift.
All right. Witness, would you please state your name and occupation and your relevance to the case to the jury?
Name, profession, occupation.
All right, I guess I'm Jamie C. Taurak. I was the mastermind and leader of a group of domestic terrorists on the planet Kepra. or at least that we were judged as such.
My I'm not a domestic terrorist shirt is getting a lot of questions in court.
Listen, I'm just as much of a citizen as anyone else, which is part of the problem. That's why it's a domestic terrorist. Yeah. Well, don't worry, Mr. Towerak. That is, you are not on trial right now for, at least in here, about your the crimes committed on the planet. Instead, I would like you to explain exactly what happened and why your relevance to the case here, and why this, you're here in general. And I'd love to. I'm like I said, I'm Jamie Towerak, and I was the mastermind and general overall leader of that group. I handled servers, I answered questions, and I fabricated and heard of and took orders from people and relayed them to the rest of the group. And Mr. Towerak, would you claim that all of the orders that you received were definitely real from the people that you claim to have ordered them from? I, in fact, have to say no. A number of them, to whip the group up into a frenzy, I definitely fabricated the people who we received the orders from. And walk again to that. So you would say that a number of these orders that you claim to have, including, let's say, one about, I don't remember exactly which one that you got, or at least recently you got that, they claimed to have. I think it was multiple actually that you got that was proof. Let's say that the last few years, you claimed to have been working for Mr. Gange. However, can you definitively prove that that was the case? No. No. No, sir. No, ma'am. I cannot claim that they were ever real, actually. Any of the ones in the past few years. They were all my idea. So you claim, so you were in fact not working for Mr. Gange, and you're willing to admit that here and, to the rest of the court and to the jury. I will, yes. I would say that, yes.
So just to be clear, just to make sure, he's saying that he did not work for Kaki Gange, yet he was still in charge of the information.
Yeah, that he was just running this gang and pretended to be getting orders from the Baron to get legitimacy and cred.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure that was what was going on.
That is what Towerak is claiming exactly. Yes.
So we're just taking the word of a domestic terrorist with no proof at face value, huh?
That's what they're trying to do. Yeah.
We are taking.
You actually have quite
furthermore, we have the counter to this
into the bear trap.
Yeah. I just felt like I'm glad we have it, but maybe we didn't even need it. This is pretty shoddy.
Is the prosecution concluded?
They're going to make the claim of if that is the case, then I would move to regard all evidence evidence and witnesses claimed that there was any connection between Kaki Gange and the kidnappings, the mass disappearances, and the one all that. Regardless of your opinion of whether or not that he should have any responsibility with solving those situations, he was not directly responsible for them. That is what they are moving to prove to claim on this. Yes. So at that point,
they're specifically opening themselves up for us to prove that is not the case, and he is directly responsible. Type.
Yeah, that's up to you. Yeah.
Well, he needs to prove that the information we have is false. The burden of proof is on him.
Yes, and that was the that is what has been provided right now. And let me be clear here, the jury is very influenceable. So it's basically like at this point now, you can make that's definitely not the case and prove it however you want. That your stuff is real, for sure. And we can show you why your doubt is fake as hell.
Start very slowly hovering forward at low altitude with like the jets on high so that this is very loud but slow and deliberate movement is happening as we get into position to pace. And place before Mr. Talrak. A document. It's like a portion of the communication logs that we have from the server. And like,
yes.
Do you recognize the contents of this document?
I do, yes.
For the benefit of the jury?
I recognize it because I wrote it.
These are communication logs taken from the server, which Mr. Talrak was an administrator over.
And for what it's worth, I believe I remembered mentioning this when you got it. They're not directly signed Kakiganje, but they're signed literally someone directly underneath him, like 100%. This is a point where even if it was a case of like, oh, you can't charge every person who is a subordinate of him, you could definitely charge him with someone who is directly underneath him, kind of thing.
Yes, we can point to the signatures from this other noble.
Which, let me go ahead and quickly name them. They're also straight up a member of the Khaki dynasty, let's say, but their first name is McFlinger. That'd be Khaki McFlinger.
Oh,
yeah.
Last name first.
Yeah, Khaki McFlinger. Yeah, so I do recognize it. Yes, I was the one who wrote these.
Yes, you assert that you falsified these transmissions. Could you describe the extent to which you fabricated the contents?
Well, I mean, they were my idea. It was my idea especially to falsify the naming here and whatnot. That is way too loud. Yeah, it was definitely my idea to falsify the name especially. Or rather, not, I didn't falsify the name, the person exists, but I specifically made a point to choose the name, and then me and another couple of people who are high up in the organization actually came up with the ideas, together. But I was responsible for most of them. Yes.
So you would say then, so you claim to have fabricated the complete contents of these messages, is that fair?
About 95% of them, yes.
Does that 95% include the headers of these messages?
Yes.
The headers which contain the signatures of one, the name has already slipped from me.
It'd be Khaki McFlinger.
Of one Khaki McFlinger. Of the Khaki dynasty.
Yes. Yes.
The signatures which contain distinctive cryptographic signets known only to members of the Khaki dynasty.
I found, yes, because I found records of them, as I am a, experienced, I am an experienced, info security expert, so I can do some hacking on the sly, and I went and found those, yes. And to put them onto the messages, which you can tell from how he said, that's a complete bullshit on the spot. I didn't even think about that lie. But, it technically still tracks, so.
So pressing him to explain it further would make him explode, is what you're saying.
Oh, yeah, probably. You can go ahead and do that.
You assert, then, that you were able to, using your skills, as a procurer of information, infiltrate the Khaki Data Vault, acquire this confidential information necessary to sign their files, and then employed this.
I would say I did that, yes. Like, you can't see him do it in the mech, but you can definitely feel him pulling at his collar, because he's now very hot under the collar.
It would follow from these claims that you would consider yourself quite skilled in the arts of information warfare, Mr.
I
Talrak.
would, yes. I would say that.
Your Honor, I invoke the right of combat against the witness to prove his alleged skills in information piracy.
So they're going to move to...
You may take a moment.
They're going to move to object to this purely on the back of... Your Honor, the right of combat can be only can be invoked by the defense and by the plaintiff against one another, or from one to another. That starts to think about it like one to another element of the court to prove their innocence in some form, but then like
A champion.
Shit, you're currently the defense, so
Yeah, the prosecution is going to take a swing at you. You say you know boxing? All right.
You know chess boxing? Show me.
Wait.
yeah, and then so
I know
the judge
boxing.
will go
Wait a
ahead.
minute.
The judge
I'm an
will
expert
go
in
ahead.
boxing.
The judge will go ahead and hush up the defense. It's like, overruled. You know as best as anyone else that this is a completely legal act. Sustained. Feel free to take positions. Which is to say, Mr. Talrak, move to the other side of the courtroom. And what are the terms of this duel? There's going to be a cyber war. You described it already.
This is going to be a cyber warfare fight. A wizard's duel to prove your capabilities as a witness.
All right. Good news. I do have this thing's stats up here, so let me go ahead and just grab those.
Domestic terrorist Mirage is going to be real good at hacking here.
Importantly, too, because this was a fight from a while ago, this is just a tier 1 Mac. You are vastly outperforming them now. All right, yeah. Because players always go first, go for it.
All right, so full tech action, lock on, and then I will tech attack. Consuming lock on. For accuracy and... Have at you!
Okay, well, there's a crit, I
You're
guess.
just gonna make this fool's mech burst into flames and be like, and now you
That's a
can't
natural
testify
20.
anymore.
Like, just all sorts of arcane
That's a natural 20.
gestures.
The mech's gonna do a flip, fall down, and then as you look away, it'll explode in flames. Yeah.
So, like, most of the time in Lancer, you don't need to reward natural 20s, but I feel like this is a situation where I should, you know?
Domestic terrorist Mirage starts twerking the burst into flames.
All right, so you did the consumed lock on for an invade that does the
Yep,
it strike code or
well, I don't think the details of the attack are terribly relevant here beyond, well, unless you're, as GM...
I'm
wanting
giving you an
details.
extra bonus to this. Yes, I want to know which one you're using.
Horus OS
specifically.
move it so it
so-
smashes its head against the wall.
Yeah, actually, let me look at the list of Horus OS moves here.
Mhm.
I have those on hand.
I mean, if you can make him start doing like a chicken dance in a courtroom, that's a pretty good way to show that you're better at it than at information warfare.
Yeah, puppet system, make him just like...
Yeah, full failure on like any like save or attach to this or anything like that. You just keyed up enormously. Like
Yeah, heat up enormously
say-
and then like slam him just short of the defense bench.
yeah, just
Or-
falls
no,
forward face
For
on the
dramatic
floor.
effect, smash him back into the witness stand.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Ooh. So the judge is going to look at him going back up and go like, I would say that's quite definitive.
No further questions?
I I didn't even get the chance. I didn't even get the chance to like he's going to start stuttering like to try to get. Thing is that doesn't really matter here. He like by doing that, invoking the duel right there. You have basically declared all of his and successfully doing that. You've declared all of his testimony invalid by having done that.
He was here as an expert hacker, and I have shown that he is garbage.
He is a trash hacker at this. He's like okay at best. Yeah. Well, get out of here, buddy. Towerak, you're fucking done. And that's with part of that. I would like a roll of some kind to get made, and like hack and fix would count for this because you just showed off so well. Because this is going to be the like getting a point of opinion off of it kind of thing.
Too bad for Talrak. There's a guy waiting outside the door with a pistol.
And the prestige of the magic trick that I then present to the court, the text file that was the rest of his planned testimony, freshly stolen from his clipboard.
Yeah,
My
there you
crimes
go. That's
TXT.
perfect.
Just
Yeah,
throw a quick
you went ahead-
crime.txt
Hey.
on the table.
The fact that evidence right there still existed was proof that they are very, very, very prone to my crimes.txt. You just proved it again. Like, yeah, of course it was real the whole time. And, you know what? Yeah, at that, the showdown is going to like stand up and slam fists onto the table in front of her and go, that's it. This is ridiculous. And, going to like gesture at Ganjay, who's going to get up and, all right, well, it's pretty clear at this point that there's no way out of this for me aside from getting just generally cleared here, isn't there? And is going to get up on the table and point at like the group in general. I am also going to invoke the right of combat. My guys versus yours.
As a knowledge check for the fact that I studied up both Kepler Chambord history and the judicial system, if we say no, what happens?
Yeah, feel free.
Do I have to roll for that, or?
No, you don't have to roll for that. I should just tell you that. The thing is, because this is it is risky to do this because if you are the one who invokes it, that means you're straight up putting your neck on the line. You have to participate, and this means that he has a very good chance to die here. Like just straight up, he could be killed, and like that'd be completely and totally legal.
Yeah, so by challenging the duel, then the response is on me, so he will clear himself if I decline. Is that how it goes?
He would clear himself, probably not of all of this, but quite a lot of it. Like there's parts of this that just doing this would not fully clear him of. You've gotten him for at least some stuff, even at this point, no matter what. But
I was gonna ask, was the jury swayed at all by teenagers' opinion? Because it was at 0 the whole time, and I feel like teenager.
That's a good point. It should have been at 2 at this point. Yeah, hold up.
I feel like teenager blew it up. Yeah, I gotta. I mean, if it was anyone else, I'd be like, fine. But like, that was teenager's moment.
And so I guess the answer to the response here, if we should, duel him, is what does Uchen think? Like, he's our boss. Does he want us to go for this? Like, how would? I mean.
Yeah, we're just representatives at the end of the day.
Yeah. By the letter of the job here, the idea was hopefully to get him fully incarcerated. To be completely honest,
for all accounts.
Yeah, for all accounts of this. If you just kill him and you have the ability to do so and have the legal rights to do so, we recommend that. That's a pretty good way of dealing with this, honestly.
Well, if this is an acceptable course of action to the client.
I
see no reason not to proceed. Starting to load gun.
I think we kept on one clause.
The thing is that because you are the ones being declared duel, you actually get to set terms somewhat. And if you wanted to set this to the death, that's actually recommended right here. They want you to do that.
Isn't Pelican our client? What is he here?
Oh yeah, actually, I have Pelicans.
Can I get another hit on the final decision scan? Can I scan final decision? I just want to know what kind of buffs this fool is capable of. If let's say one of us had extreme jury favor.
Oh yeah, full on. The scan is you can actually go ahead and bring it up yourself.
Oh yeah, you're away for this. We have all the data.
It's
For
in
every-
the handouts.
Be-
Yeah,
be-
it's a ways down in the
because-
character list.
Oh,
just go
there
ahead
it
and
is.
grab it
Okay,
anyway.
tight. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, because everybody had to get scanned on the way in. We actually have full information on every mech in here.
Yep. You know exactly what everyone can do. And here's the thing, with how the Rite of Combat goes here, and this is the mechanical, like, fun thing about this, you can actually make an argument to the judge every single round of combat, and if you make a good argument, you can get buffed for it. If you make a bad argument, then I'm going to buff the opponents instead. Or rather, like, an opponent instead. If you make a risky one and you both get it, I'm going to choose whether it's funnier to give both of you the buff, or if neither of you get it. That's the idea. Or if you wanted to make an argument to get the 6 shocker to shoot at someone, that also works too. That's not going to miss. That's a +6 with an accuracy inherently.
So what does Pelican say? Like, does he want us to just kill this dude?
Honestly, it sounds like a really good move here because, hey, if the head of that dynasty is not around, I mean, I might be able to actually muscle my way in here about a little bit.
And
Muscle my way in here and respect human decency for what it's worth. I'm not saying I'm going to do what he does.
Khaki knows that, like, we killed the guys he hired to kill us, right? Or not killed, but like we disabled the guys who they hired.
Oh
to
yeah.
murder us,
This is desperation for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, this is just all right, sick. And he's cool with to the death, huh?
He's not allowed to say no if you do choose to the death. Just straight up.
Can we do
Because
to
he's
the
the-
forever jail, and also you have to do a propaganda video every 6 months about how much you suck? Can we do that?
He'll have to say yes. Yeah.
The only
Can we put him in perpetual ownage instead of
Oh,
killing
man.
him? I think that'd
Oh,
be
man.
better. Then, like, maybe then no one else tries to do a dynasty. Maybe then the rest of the khaki gangers just like leave. That's what
Well,
I'm
we
thinking.
some news about Karak and trade baronies and how they rule, but
Yeah.
we can give it a shot.
I'm just saying. See, Anthronius is down for it from a perspective of, well, if their centralized leader, they're straight up autocrat. Like again, they're an autocracy, is dead, and they or put into forever jail, and they would have to deal with like some fallout from that. Especially because one of their centers of power was just thrown into. Basically, we'll probably go through a very quick revolution without him at that point. They might be like the Anthronius like group over here might be able to move in and take over, but probably treat people better because like Pelican is genuinely an okay guy, and he is a minor but rich baron is the idea.
Mhm.
And I mean, hey, it sounds like a pretty good move for him.
I like the idea of driving him to disgrace rather than
Death.
Yeah.
going for the kill.
Mhm.
Because that also weakens like the entire rest of his extended family. Oh.
It does, for
Khaki?
sure. Yeah. By all
Those
means, that is
khaki?
way worse for him than just death. Death is a way for him to, as a baron, this is not me claiming this, in real life, that is a case for anyone, because that's not how it works. But as a something vaguely based off of like French feudalism, going to the death is a way for him to save any kind of face at all. And if he were
Yeah.
to, if you were
Steal
instead
that
to
from
go
him.
through permanent humiliation, that's way worse for him.
The
And he doesn't
optics
get to
of-
say no if you go for it.
The optics of dying in battle to defend his honor on the court field,
Yeah.
and then you stop the
Versus-
conversation there and just kind of.
Well,
That's
having
more
We're
that-
not gonna let him
salvageable
be a
for his
martyr.
relatives.
We're gonna make him the laughing
Yes.
stock. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw this out here. That Saint Barlas, the thing that he's named after, that is the name of a martyr in real life who was flogged to death.
What are you gonna do,
Hence-
martyr me?
Exactly.
It says whip robot.
Well, if the client wants us to humiliate him and our boss wants us to humiliate him, I guess we have no choice but to humiliate him.
right.
Salt's only stipulation is that we get to first make our closing arguments because I made that PowerPoint. So
That's true.
That's
I
fair.
also wrote up a
All right.
speech for it.
You have to watch the PowerPoint before we kick your
yeah,
ass.
yeah, exactly.
Hey,
Actually,
Judge
in
will
this-
go after that and say sustained closing statements are helpful and useful in the structure of trials.
can we say if this PowerPoint goes over well, this is how we get above turn 1?
Sure. Yeah. Let's go with that. So I'm gonna need a PowerPoint roll from someone who has PowerPoint as a skill because I know someone does.
Hello.
Ruby, you're the one with the PowerPoint skill, right?
I literally have
Yeah.
a skill called PowerPoint.
Yes,
and
you do.
I'm gonna give you an extra free accuracy on this because the PowerPoint is very good.
Okay.
We should show the stream the PowerPoint.
Yeah,
if
can we
have it.
show
Yes.
the
Yeah,
stream?
can we get a
Alright.
shared presentation going, and then I can just like drop the relevant tab?
You can just click on the link, I
in
think,
frame?
and
yeah, I
and
have the
capture
link.
it.
I just want to like
Oh yeah, I can
make sure that like the reveals are appropriately synced.
Yes,
To
because
speech, so.
Salt will be doing the presentation here.
Oh, so yeah, do
Um,
you just want to like Discord side stream the
Exactly.
PowerPoint?
There
Yeah,
we
yeah,
go.
yeah.
There we go.
All right, hold up. Gotta get into this.
There we go.
I also need to see the PowerPoint.
Okay, if you're side streaming it, just give me a moment to like pop this out and try to capture it. I'm not sure if
Alright.
OBS will be able to.
Pop it out and capture it 100%. I've done that before.
You can, if it gives you trouble with window capture, make sure to set it to the Windows 10 bit mythology.
Stand by.
I will save my role for the end of this.
Perfect.
All right, hold on. Let me get this properly fitted.
I made sure to put all of our names on there so we all got credit. It was a group project, so.
All right, scale this down a bit so that we can still see the chat. All right, yeah, I think you're good to go.
All right. So, in closing arguments, these weirdos are clearly wrong. Like, they attacked us, first of all. What the hell? They're real jerks? Who would do that? I mean, come on. Are you kidding me? And I'm pretty sure what they're doing is illegal. I think we've clearly shown that. Like, there's no way this is legal, right? Just look at what they did. We clearly outlined everything. All of this, illegal. How mad are the people in Kepler at them? 500% mad. That's more than 100%. They're very mad.
More than 200%.
Yeah, holy crap. So in conclusion, do the right thing.
The fucking squash Jenner. Or is that a flea? That might be a flea. I can't tell. It's so good. Too squash for me.
So I said before, I feel like I think it was time that said this frame of that says so much more about Salt's character.
It's the perfect summary of like, who is Soul in this presentation.
We have learned a lot today.
Okay, and here we go. Well, hello.
Closing statement is fuck these guys. On the defensive side. Not
I
a
don't
very
know. I
professional
don't know if
closing
that rolled
statement.
accuracy. Yeah, that's with a zero. That's a nat 20.
Nice.
Let's
Roll
go,
a
gamer.
d6. Roll a d6 to see if you get the 6 to get a 30.
Go, come on, gamer.
Oh my god. Okay, well, everyone at the start of next session, you're going to get to choose one of the buffs that he can give.
Amazing.
PowerPoint.
PowerPoint.
Oosh.
That is rolling a 30 in this game where the difficulty can literally only go up to 20.
Oh my god.
I want to emphasize that. There's no way to make it harder. Like, I'm supposed to just put difficulty onto things, and I can't here. It was too good.
You love to see that.
You love to see it. Yeah. So next time, a fight will break out, and that is the final part of mission 5. After that, we will be moving into mission 6, the final mission of the campaign.
Next time.
I hope you enjoyed my doofy ass trial session. I
That was
gotta have
good.
one in every game I run.
It was good.
Yeah,
It was good.
That was good.